Okay, guys. Hopefully this one works. We just had a failed live stream where the audio was off. Y'all know that's regular around here. But anyway, today's going to be an exciting night. It's going to be a sad night at the same time. It's exciting because we are getting some real money fantasy football drafts going like we have done every single day for I don't know how long now. I mean, we've been doing this for what, like maybe 5 weeks now. Every single day we've been getting real money fantasy drafts. Y'all know there's been nobody that has come close to doing as many real money fantasy drafts as we have this season. And it's exciting because we got real football tomorrow. It is here. We've been waiting for so long. This is what we've been preparing for all offseason now. But it's a sad day because it's the last day that we are going to have this exact setup with this exact form of draft. Now, I will say we're going to continue to live stream every single night this year, so do not worry about that. We will get those live streams going. I'm going to be answering start set questions every night. I'm also going to be going through and doing so many other fun things on Underdog Fantasy. I mean, Underdog Fantasy has draft contests throughout the entire season, so you better believe we'll be doing those at the same time. But yeah, let's go through and let's get this going. I'm sorry about the failed live stream at the very beginning, guys. I didn't want to have to deal with going through, fixing that, turning it into a video, yada, yada, yada. We just ended that one, started a new one. But of course, please go down there, drop a like on the live stream to try to save us for this one. And you know what? Let's send out this first link to the first draft over there on Patreon. Let me go and grab that really quick and upload that there. Should literally only take me 30 seconds, and then we can get this going. Not even 30 seconds. Okay, so now we'll grab this, send that out. And let's pull up this draft board, and here's what we got to hope for. Let's hope we get the 101. Now, I don't know if we're going to get any $250 drafts going tonight. I'm thinking that I may just get as many $10 drafts going as possible. That way, as many of y'all can get into these drafts with me. But maybe we'll do a 250. I'm not sure yet. I just can't commit to anything right now. Let me also pull this over. Okay, so let's check out the chat. We have iDynamic, JN, Temporary, Chase, Azron, Johnny, Isaac, Party to Shot, Lankdog, Ricky, Grind for Gold, Sam, Anthony, Temporary, Suzuki, Lankdog, Nick, Mike, Luis, and Zach, Nothing But Net, and Kyle. Thank you all so much for coming out here, joining us at the very beginning of the live stream. And we're going to be picking at the 112. Now, this is actually a spot that I was drafting at. I think it's like my third draft today, picking at the 112. I know we've at least done one draft at the 112 today. Possibly this is our second one. I can't say for sure, but I'm sorry, this is our third one. I think we maybe have done two outside of that. Let's expand this. That way y'all can see the entire board. And then Maxi says, a word on Austin Ekeler. Guys, nobody knows what's going on with Ekeler right now. Literally, I mean, I don't know, and nobody else out here can tell you. We're just going to have to sit. We're just going to have to wait. And I mean, I know everybody's freaking out because it's week one. They're like, oh my God, Austin Ekeler started practicing. Guys, we're going to get used to this. It's going to happen every single day with a handful of players throughout the entire season. So just because it's happening one day with Austin Ekeler, I mean, everybody was losing their minds with Chris Godwin. And when Chris Godwin popped up on the injury report, guys, y'all are just not used to how the fantasy football season goes. It's a completely regular thing. We're just going to have to wait and see. It's no reason, and just losing your mind, freaking out about it now. I mean, yes, of course, it's not great for Austin Ekeler owners, but I mean, no real adjustments to be making at the moment. And also, we just passed 40 likes in the live stream. Thank you, everybody, going down there, dropping that like. Let me send out a quick poll, and we're going to pass 35,000 subscribers on the channel today. So this is going to be massive. And I'll say right now with this live draft, people are probably not going to like to see our first and second round selections based on how I'm thinking it's going to go, but just wait. And you know the rule in all these drafts, you have to at least wait until week 12. I mean, round 12, if you're going to criticize the draft. Wait until round 12. I've done close to 200 real money fantasy football drafts. Maybe I've actually cracked that 200 mark. If you include Dynasty, I've blown past that 200 mark this offseason. I really know what we're doing at this point. I really think that we're going to be able to build a great team here. And let me go through, set up a poll real quick. Okay, we just sent that out. Let's pull it up. Saquon Barkley, one of our targets, does go. So now we're on the board, and I know a lot of people probably want to see us to take Austin Ekeler, and I'm not passing on Ekeler here because the injury. I'm passing on Ekeler because we are never drafting him here. We are always instead drafting our guy, Jonathan Taylor. We're going to grab Jonathan Taylor and also Calvin Ridley, knowing how wide receivers are going to go in this draft. So y'all, let's have a very common start to what we're used to. Y'all already have known that I am of the opinion that Jonathan Taylor is actually about my 110. So I know most of y'all are actually seeing Jonathan Taylor fall to like the 205, the 204. I think that is just craziness. I cannot be waiting that long at all on a Jonathan Taylor. We're going to be taking him considerably ahead of then. And then Austin Ekeler does go at the 203 in this draft. Goes at the 203. A Party Till Shot says, I told you by ranking Ekeler over Chubb and Gibson was disrespectful. Stephen A. Smittone. I'm lost there, my man. I am completely lost. Okay, so now let's see what we have after this. Najee Harris at the 204. Okay, so maybe this is a draft that skews a little more running back heavy. I've been seeing Ekeler, Gibson, Harris, and Darren Waller goes at the 205. Yeah, and then Aaron Jones went at the 106 before both Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. So this is going to be a running back heavy draft. I know a lot of people here probably aren't used to seeing Derrick Henry fall to the 108. I think Derrick Henry at the 108 is solid value. Now, I've been of the opinion the entire offseason that if you were taking Derrick Henry at the 103, it was an atrocious pick. That should never be happening here. Derrick Henry, the absolute earliest you could consider taking Derrick Henry is actually going to be the 105. There, I don't even know if we're necessarily that excited about taking Henry. But, I mean, of my opinion, I think that we're just kind of scratching him off our board going, okay, well, we know that there are going to be better options. Everybody a part of this live stream by now should understand us. And then Party Till Shot says, in your running back tier video, you ranked Ekeler above Gibson and Chubb. Yeah, so I guess this is karma. This is karma. Ryan says, what do you think about my zero running back strategy versus the hyper running back strategies? Okay, so I will say that you're more so talking, I'm assuming, about hyper fragile running back, about best ball, because that's not necessarily a term you're using for a regular 2021 league. And I will say, if we're going to be going through and looking at either option, you have to understand what you're trying to do in both scenarios, as you are trying to just go through and go, okay, you know what? And this is something we talk about all the time. And this is why in a lot of drafts, you always see me punting my running back too. I'll grab a guy like a Jonathan Taylor in the first or second, and then you'll see me load up on a receiver. Because when you attack a draft with either a zero running back or just on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, a hyper fragile running back strategy, what you're attempting to do is you're attempting to get a top 1 percentile outcome, understanding that, well, yes, I mean, a lot of the scenarios you build a team that's just completely dead. When you do build that dominant team, whenever you do build a structure that you drafted, just say a Devontae Adams, then you got DeAndre Hopkins, then it's Terry McLaurin, then say in the fourth, I mean, just a receiver after receiver after receiver after receiver. And if you did that just a few weeks ago, and also in rounds 8 and 9, you decided to take, I mean, James Robinson and Gus Edwards, all of a sudden you have the best team in fantasy, and it isn't even close. But also, at the same time, a lot of those other teams, they weren't taking those running backs. Instead, they were taking running backs like James Conner and Tony Pollard. And at this moment, those teams look like they may be drawing very thin to do anything until an injury occurs. So you just really have to understand the contest that you're playing in if you're going to attempt something like that. Now here, I don't necessarily think that we need to be chasing that elite level ceiling, considering we're just playing in a 12-man league going up against 11 other people. This is a private draft. This isn't one of the tournaments on Underdog. So I understand the thought process behind it. And I'll say that I think the majority of drafts that we're probably wanting to do, we're probably wanting to go through and actually build around one of those stud running backs, and then making sure that we load up on receivers afterwards. And then we can grab a couple of the other running backs in that James Conner, Kenyon Drake tier, going, okay, well, we'll have enough touches at running back 2 just to get us by throughout the season. And then, of course, if anything were to occur with an injury, then you could see James Conner becoming a running back 1, and that's how you have a dominant tier. But at the same time, you're not drawing extremely thin at the beginning part of the season, because you do have that very high floor and ceiling combination with the running back like a Jonathan Taylor here. So I'm completely on board with going zero running back, but not technically zero running back. I'm still of the opinion that in a contest like this, if you're just playing in a 12-man league, you most likely need to be coming away with at least one of those receivers you can feel very confident with. And this is a perfect example of what we're looking at with this draft pick. Okay, so say we started this draft off with Jonathan Taylor and Calvin Ridley. Now, when we're on the clock at the 312, the 401, we're looking at a James Robinson that I think most people would expect us to go with. And instead, understanding that we are more so trying to chase that ceiling and chase just the fact that we can find other running back value later on, that we're just going to take wide receiver because we know wide receiver is historically a lot more predictable on what you're going to see with not only the workload, but also the efficiency. So getting Mike Evans and Chris Godwin here as our wide receiver 2 and wide receiver 3. Keep in mind, this is a format where you have to start 3 wide receivers every week at the minimum. I actually think this is going to be a lot more advantageous. And don't be surprised also if we decide to select some receivers here at the 5th, 6th turn. I mean, yes, the range that we're going to be looking at right here is going to be pretty damn gross, to be honest. I will admit that. We don't know if we're going to go with the receiver yet. However, I do know that we're going to be very comfortable with the Mike Evans and the Chris Godwin selections before we see that wide receiver tier fall off, which is going to happen about at the end of the 4th round. So I hope that was a decent explanation on why I'm not necessarily all in on 0 RB, but you always see me. I mean, I don't talk about it that much because I know a lot of people, they don't necessarily agree with it, but the math has proved it time and time again. So you've heard me talking about it for almost 2 years now, that really punting your running back 2 and going with just more so a committee approach at that position. You saw me do it in the $1,000 draft that we did months ago, and we had 1 million people screaming at me, and we have 1 million people screaming at me every single night in the live stream going, Mason, you idiot. Mason, you can't take your running back. Oh my God. You can't take your wide receiver 5 before your running back 2. Do you not know how things work? And guys, yes, I mean, I really think that you want to be building around that one stud running back, and then you want to be getting those predictable wide receivers with very high hit rates in the middle rounds. And then you can identify those running backs with top end level upside at the end of the draft. Okay. So now we do have some more of those tight ends going off. Andrews going off here does kind of suck. I mean, it used to be so good back in the days when you could be picking at the end of the 1st round, and it didn't happen every time, but at least you had the sweat. At least you were like, oh my gosh, can we pull it off? Whenever you had the chance to get Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews at the 5-6 turn. I mean, those were the days, never happening anymore. So of course you can't even really sweat it out because there's no bet. You always see that Mark Andrews, Lamar Jackson pairing going off near this range. Sometimes it's not necessarily the same team getting them. Sometimes you only see Mark Andrews at like the 502, and then Lamar Jackson goes in the middle of the 5th. But yeah, this is a strong start. Nash coming out says, I've never punted running back. No, not me. Yeah, if y'all don't know JN's actually right here. Nash is cashed, and he's actually known for usually starting running back. I'm very surprised to see him go with a wide receiver in the 1st, and honestly, wide receiver 3rd and the 4th. Usually he's always the guy, like, I would imagine that he would have started like Jonathan Taylor, Antonio Gibson, James Robinson, and DeAndre Swift. Very weird to see JN decide to go with this wide receiver build. Matthew coming out with the donation says, congrats on the recent success. Keep on making those tier list videos. Thank you, my man. I truly appreciate it. I promise you, we're going to continue to make videos every single day. We're going to continue to go through live stream every single day as well. So just make sure you are subscribed to the channel. And now let me pull this back up. And here, this is going to be the last night of these drafts in particular. We're going to get other fun things going on Underdog Fantasy, but these exact drafts, I don't know how many more of these are going to go underway. So it's sad. It's a sad live stream. It's fun at the same time. James says, Tyson Williams worth holding ? Obviously after the Le'Veon Bell signing. I will say that if you're playing in a very deep dynasty league, if you're playing in a league that maybe is 14 teams in a redraft league where you have 7-8 bench spots, then yes. But if you're playing in your standard 10 or 12 man league where you only have 6 or 7 bench spots, honestly, probably not going to be too excited about rostering Williams, because now even if Gus Edwards did suffer an injury, we know that's not going to be all of a sudden a backfield that has nobody else to go to. They are going to have Le'Veon Bell, so it's still going to be a 60-40 split, and I don't necessarily think the talent dictates that you need to be going out there and starting him in that scenario. Okay, so now we're locking in TJ Hawkinson. And I know a lot of people are probably screaming at us to go with a Mike Davis here. Hawkinson is the easy selection, understanding that he just gives us so much flexibility with our roster construction. It sucks that Jayen decides to take Josh Jacobs away from us. This is what we were going back to whenever we were looking at the 2-3 turn and just saying that we definitely wanted to be making sure that we were grabbing the receivers there and passing on the running backs, because now if we wanted the running backs, we could take them in this range. The problem is like an Odell is like very similar to everybody else that we're going to be looking at here. So we're actually going to go with, the Darrell Henderson. Now hear me out on this. So y'all know with Darrell Henderson, this is a running back that I hated when he was going in the 4th round because we successfully identified that with the team investment that they had into the other running backs in the backfield, that they were 100% going out and 100% bringing someone else in. So of course we hated Darrell Henderson in the 4th. And I will say that if this was a tournament style, like if we were playing in the $250 league on Underdog where they had the fantasy tournament at the very end, there I'm going to be going with Odell Beckham Jr., understanding that we do need to be shooting for a top 1 percentile outcome. However, when we're playing in this 12-man league, I actually think that's going to be a little more important to have that high floor at the same time. So instead, we're going to go with Henderson at the 601. It's close, but I think Odell's actually going to be very similar to some of the wide receivers that we're going to see at the 7-8 turn. And I think that based on how many drafts we have done here, we're not going to see any of those other running backs in this tier making it back to us. Whereas, I mean, we're going to see a lot of the wide receivers looking like Odell at the next pick. Okay, so yeah, JN ends up going with Antonio Brown at the 602. If Chris Godwin were to miss this week, I mean, imagine Antonio Brown's production. That would have been... That would have been, I don't want to say a movie, but it would have been wild. It would have been wild. Okay, Tyler Boyd at the 605. Let me switch this chat over real quick to subscriber only because I definitely want to be able to keep up with it, answer start-sit questions and everything throughout the stream. And I'll promise you guys, we're going to get some streams that are dedicated just to start-sit questions and everything like that. So over there on Patreon, I have just had to make the decision that I cannot answer start-sit questions. I cannot answer trade questions. I cannot answer waiver wire questions through DMs because we have over 1,000 people on Patreon. And if you just do some simple math, if you just start figuring out how many DMs I get a day, it would literally be impossible for me to ever make a video, ever make a podcast, ever do a live stream if I was answering those questions through DMs. So what I think I'm going to do is whenever we do our weekly live streams, when I'm going through and answering your start-sit questions, I think we're going to have a segment at the very end of the stream that I'm probably going to go over and make a post on Patreon and say, if you have any of your start-sit questions that you want answered on the stream right now, comment under this post. And then I'm most likely going to go through and read off of that list and answer all of those at the end of the live stream. And we'll do something very similar to with everybody that's a member to this channel on YouTube. I know that's not that many people, but just that way, if you are supporting the show, I can still answer all your questions because of course I really want to be able to do that. But at the same time, I want to be realistic on how I can because it's not realistic for me to be able to do it through DMs because I simply just do not have the time for it. And I promise you if I did, I would. I promise you if I did, I would. Mike Davis falling to the 610. This is great value on Mike Davis. And RK heat off right here. I had probably said the name completely wrong, but I need to give them a massive, massive thank you for supporting the channel and that I looked up on Underdog because I see all your emails whenever you sign up with promo code FLOCK. That way I can get you the draft guide. That way I can get you the rankings and everything. And I was looking at it yesterday just to see who were the first people to sign up with promo code FLOCK. And he was the first person to sign up with promo code FLOCK right here. The first person to sign up for Underdog Fantasy with promo code FLOCK. So thank you so much for that. And let's go through. We get a donation coming out from Julian, says Brandon Ayuk or Brandon Cooks this week. Thank you. And I'll say probably going to go with Brandon Ayuk. Yes, it's going to be a game where the 49ers are leading the majority of the time. They're not going to have to throw the ball that often. Yes, I do prefer Trey Lance in there over Jimmy Garoppolo for Brandon Ayuk specifically. And he's coming back from a hamstring injury. But with all that being said, it's a Brandon Ayuk versus Brandon Cooks. It's Jimmy Garoppolo versus Tyrod Taylor. So we're still going to be going with Brandon Ayuk, but it is going to be close. I'm not a massive fan of Ayuk this week. Okay. Matt asking if we were going to get a $250 draft going after this. I wish, my man, but I think instead we're probably going to get a $10 draft going. That way I can get some more members of this channel out here. Yeah, we're probably going to get a $10 draft going just so I can get more of y'all involved. And okay, so if we knew that we were going to have the potential to take Chase Edmonds coming back to us at this turn, I think we would actually go back and get rid of that Darrell Henderson selection. And instead we would have gone with an Odell Beckham Jr. there. So that is currently looking like a mistake. So let's see what ends up falling to us. I'm imagining that JN's going to go with the receiver. Knowing what JN usually does, I'd be surprised if he takes another running back after Antonio Gibson and Josh Jacobs. So let's see what he does. Russell Wilson. Okay, so I was actually kind of hoping that he was going to give us Russell Wilson here. So now we're going to be in a spot where I think that we honestly kind of have to take Chase Edmonds. Yeah, we have to take Edmonds here. It does make our selection of Darrell Henderson look pretty bad, but Edmonds is too good a value to pass up on. And quarterback, really, Russell Wilson's going to be the only quarterback that I would have considered in this range. I actually think that we're going to get our other guy in a Will Fuller. So let's draft Will Fuller real quick, and then we can get Chase Edmonds on this team. Don't love continuing to hammer in these running backs here, but it's more so the value that is falling to us. So yeah, this is what we have so far. Taylor, Darrell Henderson, Chase Edmonds. Then we have a bunch of these wide receivers, and then TJ Hawkinson at tight end. And we have a donation coming out that says, you watch any other sport other than football? Oh, yes. I mean, I really love some other sports. I mean, of course, you love watching the NBA. And I'll say my favorite sport to watch, if I'm just going to have something in on the background, is definitely Major League Baseball. I played baseball growing up. So, yeah, I watch other sports. And I even do other fantasy sports at the same time. Now, definitely, I'm not that good at other fantasy sports, but it's fun to do nonetheless. So, yeah, football is definitely my specialty, though. And James coming out with a donation. Thank you, my man. Says a full PPR, Nico Collins, Amaro St. Brown, Gabriel Davis, or Dyami Brown. Okay, so this is a gross question. I'm assuming you're asking who to start this week. If you're asking who to start, I'm starting Dyami Brown if we do have Curtis Samuel out of that game. If Curtis Samuel does play, however, then instead I think we actually may want to go with a Nico Collins. Or this is such a tough question, to be honest. If you're talking about who do we want on your roster, if we were just discussing who we want on your roster, there I want Gabriel Davis. Gabriel Davis going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers this week, however, is going to give us some hesitation. So that's a pretty tough question to get into. That's a pretty tough question. Okay. Looks like everybody wants us to do a $250 draft after this. It may be, my dudes. Drop a like on the live stream. Let's see how many people come out to this stream. This is going to be It's going to be one of the last nights that we are streaming these drafts. Now, we're still going to be streaming other things on Underdog Fantasy. And oh my gosh, I completely forgot to do this. So if y'all are new to the channel, the number one way that you can support this channel, and this is also for the people that are current members of this channel that have been watching for a long time, use promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy. It's so important that you do this right now because on the 13th, this deal is no longer available. I mean, it's a same version of this deal, but less money added to your account. So if you go and use promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy and you make a $10 deposit, Underdog Fantasy is where we're drafting right now. They're going to be doing drafts during the season at the same time for weekly contests that I'm going to be doing on the live stream. It's going to be a ton of fun. So we're going to be doing stuff throughout the entire season on Underdog Fantasy on the live stream. You can come out, get in the draft with me. It's a ton of fun. We've been doing this every single night for the past 5 weeks. When you make that $10 deposit on Underdog Fantasy to come play with us, you get $25 added to your account. You get our 2021 draft guide. You get our 2021 rankings, our 2021 tiers. I mean, that's hundreds of pages of information. It's like an $80, $90 value, and you support the channel a ton. So please take advantage of that, my dudes. Literally nothing helps our channel more than you using promo code FLOCK and Underdog Fantasy. And I will say also, I know Underdog Fantasy was not available in some states, but the one state that they were not available in Arizona, now they're available in Arizona. So if you've tried using promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy in Arizona and you weren't able to make a deposit, well, now you know how sports gambling is going state by state by state. Well, Arizona is allowing Underdog Fantasy now. So make sure you go take advantage of that ASAP. Nothing helps this channel more. Nothing helps this channel more. Joey says Underdog won't let you play in Nevada. Yeah, it's because, I mean, obviously politics aren't the fairest thing. And I don't know if you've heard, but casinos are a pretty big deal in Nevada. They got a lot of money to make in the casinos. So Nevada bans like all online poker, all online sports books. I mean, Nevada's pretty hypocritical with doing that. Okay, so now let's pull this back up, and they just take away every receiver we could have possibly been looking at. They take away every wide receiver to the point where now that selection of Darrell Henderson looks extra bad. That Darrell Henderson selection, we need to go back and revisit that, and it just looks like a horrendous pick at this moment. Now, we still have a decent amount of receivers. We have Ridley, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Will Fuller, and at tight end, we do have TJ Hawkinson. So we're not desperate at those positions. Jayan does go with the Robert Tonyan. So here I think we're actually going to lock in a Jalen Hurts. One reason I like Jalen Hurts over these other quarterbacks is A, I've had him ranked over those other quarterbacks all offseason now. I mean, with the Jalen Hurts, we know this is someone with an elite rushing upside. And B, with Jalen Hurts, this is also someone that you don't have to stack considering you're not betting on the passing volume. Instead, you are just betting on the rushing upside. And if we're going to go with someone else here, do we just take another running back? Do we take Noah Fant? We're going to take Noah Fant as our second tight end here? No, we can't do that. I mean, if we take Noah Fant here, we're essentially just erasing the pick that we selected TJ Hawkinson with, saying that, I mean, there's no real upside with that selection anymore. So what we may do is just take Melvin Gordon. Keep in mind, this is a league right now that we do not have the fantasy football playoffs at the end of the season. You actually just have cumulative scoring with how many points you can score throughout the entire year. So that is going to make players like Melvin Gordon, Raheem Mostert, they're both going to be slightly more intriguing. Where Melvin Gordon, I really hate him if you're playing in a regular league where you have the fantasy football playoffs at the end of the season, because by the time we get there, Javonte Williams is going to be the starting running back, so you're not going to get that production. But in a league like this, that actually doesn't matter as much. And Rowan coming out with the donation. Thank you, my man. Says, appreciate all the drafts this offseason, man. People didn't know about the glitch where they get $100 value from a $10 deposit. Did they not know about that, Rowan? Oh my gosh, that is brutal. If you did not know about that glitch that has Underdog Fantasy just scrambling at the moment, I would take advantage before they patch it. I read the patch notes, and it sounds like they're going to try to do something about it, because obviously it's too much of a glitch to ignore at the moment with Underdog Fantasy. But for whatever reason, when you go to make that $10 deposit and you're a first-time depositor, I mean, you actually get $25 added to your account, our 2021 draft guide, our 2021 rankings, our 2021 dynasty rookie draft guide. It's like $100 value for a $10 deposit on Underdog Fantasy. Man, I don't know about that glitch. It seems like Underdog Fantasy should have that on their number one thing on their to-do list to go through and fix up. But for now, it's not. So I definitely go through and try to take advantage. Okay, so Terrace Marshall at the 10.06. So let's go and check out where Post Dylan has gone. Post Dylan has been someone in a ton of our drafts this entire offseason, whether it's Underdog, whether it's Dynasty. And here he starts off with a very intriguing build. He gets Kelsey in the first, Patrick Mahomes in the fourth, doubles up on running back in the second and the third. And then from there, he just slams wide receivers after that. From there, he gets Robbie Anderson, Corey Davis, Marquez Callaway, great value on DJ Chark, Rondale Moore, and Terrace Marshall. Okay, so a very intriguing build. I'll say when you start that team off that way, you definitely have to go and slam those wide receivers. So I don't blame him for doing that whatsoever. And really the only pick that I think I would have possibly changed is instead possibly going with a wide receiver in the third round. And then that way you could have passed on Corey Davis at the 606 and instead had taken a Myles Gaskin, Kareem Hunt, Mike Davis, or Trey Sermon, or even Damian Harris. I think that would have probably been a better 2v2. Okay, so now let's go through Justin Fields at the 10-12. Justin Fields going, this is way too early for Justin Fields for me. I know we've been harping on this for a very long time, and I will lose a significant amount of money this year. If Justin Fields comes out and he's rookie season Deshaun Watson, I am probably going to have to, like, you see this beautiful sign that Noah made us? I'm probably going to have to take that off the wall. We're going to have to put it in my backpack, which I'll have to custom order a backpack to fit it in there. But we'll have to walk it down to the closest pawn shop, and I'll be having to pawn it off for whatever we could get. Because if Justin Fields turns into Deshaun Watson, I am losing out on so much money. We have taken a hard stance to go with Trey Lance instead of Justin Fields. Anybody who's been watching our Dynasty channel all offseason knows this. And I mean, right now, it's kind of sucks with the injury that we have to Trey Lance. Hasn't thrown the ball in a while, which, I mean, definitely puts him on a path where he may not be starting right away, which definitely sucks. Victor coming out says, let's draft. Victor, I'm excited to have you out here, guys. If y'all don't know, Victor has not been in the live chat as of late, but he was someone that was out almost every single night back in 2020. Louise says, hey, I signed up using your code FLOCK and sent you a DM on Instagram. My man, thank you so much. I'll get to you as soon as we get done with this live stream. And guys, yeah, when you use promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy, make that $10 deposit and get our draft guide, get our rankings, get $25 added to your account. The $25 will be added to your account like that. And to get our rankings, draft guide, dynasty rookie draft guide, and that entire bundle, all you have to do is message me anywhere. You can message me on Patreon, on Discord, on Instagram, on Twitter. My email address is also in the description of the video. You can email me if you don't have access to any of those. And all you have to say is, Mason, listen here. I use promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy. I'm tired of you uploading this mini videos. I'm tired of you talking as if you know what you're talking about. Just send me the draft guide so I can sit here and I can make fun of you for not knowing anything. And I'll be packaging that up. I'll be putting some staples on it and we'll be sending it out to your email as soon as possible. But just send me the email address that you signed up for Underdog Fantasy with. That way I can go through and that way I can confirm. Peyton says, no notification tonight. Yeah, I'm sorry if y'all did not get a notification for the live stream, but when we're uploading multiple videos a day, I have some bad news that you're not going to be getting that many notifications for the live streams. It sucks, but that's just how YouTube is. If we're uploading like this, I mean, you're going to have to kind of get used to not seeing that many notifications. Okay, so Cole Beasley is a pick that we have to make here at this point. So I think we honestly go Cole Beasley and Dallas Goedert. So running back, I think we've already kind of saturated ourselves here whenever we have Taylor, Henderson, Edmonds, Melvin Gordon. We already have so many guaranteed touches between these guys that I actually think that we're going to go Cole Beasley. I know Beasley has his concerns, but we're just looking for someone that's going to be running a lot of routes in one of the league's pass happiest offenses. That's going to be Cole Beasley. I mean, you do have Gabriel Davis going right before him, so we can't even consider going Gabriel Davis. And here we are going to get Dallas Goedert. And with Underdog Fantasy, one thing you have to keep in mind is we do not have access to the waiver wire, so we are going to have to be doubling up on some positions that we normally wouldn't. So if you check out the strap board right now, we scroll down, you're going to see that I already have TJ Hawkinson. So in a regular draft where I already have TJ Hawkinson, there you're never going to have to consider drafting another guy because during his bye week, I'm just going to go to the waiver wire and I'm just going to pick up whoever is best available for that week and we can play him in replacement of TJ Hawkinson. Whereas here you don't have that same luxury. So Dallas Goedert's going to be a lot more intriguing because if we wait a little longer, I think maybe we'll be in a spot where we possibly have to draft 3 tight ends. Okay, so now let me go through and see if we have Luis says it was so quick to sign up. My man, thank you so much for signing up. I promise you guys, nothing helps this channel more. And that's one thing that I love about Underdog Fantasies. Obviously, the platform's great, but the deal that they were able to construct, I think, is by far and away the best deal on YouTube. It's extremely quick and it's a win-win-win for everybody. Like, that's why I'm saying you have to take advantage of this right now. And on the 13th, that $25 that gets added to your account, if you don't sign up before then, I mean, the deal that we're going to be pushing out there is only $10 getting added to your account. So you definitely have to make sure you're going through and fixing that. Okay, so now let's go. Jake coming out with a question says, a Gallup, Swift, or Laviska Shenault for week 1. It's going to be a tough question. I'll say Michael Gallup probably not going to be in play for me here, my man. Now, between DeAndre Swift and Laviska Shenault, obviously 99% of weeks you are going to be starting DeAndre Swift. I'm including DeAndre Swift this week. You'll see this in a video that comes out tomorrow on my do not start running back list. I think it's going to be extremely hard to start DeAndre Swift, to be honest. I am probably going to be looking to avoid that. We probably have to go DeAndre Swift over Laviska Shenault. I like Laviska Shenault's matchup against Houston. I like that DJ Chark is just now coming back from that finger injury, so I'm expecting an expanded role for Laviska Shenault. It's definitely a close question, but I think you have to go DeAndre Swift. Okay, so James White at the 12-11. And this is kind of what we want to see. We want to see these running backs begin to get drafted because at this point, we are just essentially done at tight end. We're almost done at running back. We're going to grab one more running back, but it's probably not going to be for a while. And we're just trying to find some wide receiver value. We're just trying to find these guys that we can plug and play and try to hope for their spike weeks. Okay, so we get Alexander Madison at the 13:01. And we just passed 100 likes on the live stream. Thank you, everybody, for going down there and dropping a like on the stream. I truly do appreciate it, guys. And we're going to hit 35,000 subscribers tonight as well. We're going to hit 35,000 subscribers on the stream. We're like 60 subscribers away from 35,000. And we've been just going like a rocket up right now. So thank you, everybody, for all the support that y'all have showed the channel the entire offseason. I'm going to be so excited to make videos every single day this year. And you know we're going to be live streaming 99% of days, so probably every day. Gavin says, Mason, what two do I start at? Wait 1 sec. Oh my gosh. Victor out here. The madman. The madman. Thank you so much, Victor. That is crazy. Biggest bomb in flock history from this mother flocker. I've had so many drafts where I've absolutely loved my teams, and it's all because of my guy. I won many leagues last year because of Mason. Hashtag payback time. My man, thank you so much. Thank you so much, of course, for the donation. The Victor was also the highest donating person last year in 2020. So that is wild, my man. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate that. Okay, guys, based on the Victor donation, we're probably getting in a $250 draft tonight. We're probably going to get into a $250 draft tonight. Okay, so I don't know if it's going to be right after this one, but based on that donation, we'll get into a 250. We'll get into a 250. Okay, so now we're going to be back up on the clock. I think we probably are going to be in a spot where... Actually, I just need to zip it. I need to zip it at this point. Because Jan could go any which way in front of us. Okay. I'm hoping... Okay, Jan goes Cole Kmet. Okay, that's perfect. We're going to get Tua Tagovailoa with one of these picks. Tua's going to be... Oh my gosh, no, that sucks. He has the same bye as a Jalen Hurts. So if we draft Tua, we're going to have to draft 3 quarterbacks regardless. So that's going to make it where we're a lot less likely to draft QB here. Okay, so instead, I think we actually probably have to make a pivot. No, we probably... We have to at least draft 1 wide receiver with this pick. It's a reach, but we have to at least draft 1 guy. We have to at least draft 1 receiver based on us being on the turn, our roster construction. We can't look at tight end. I'm trying to figure out, do we draft Tua and do we just draft a 3rd one at the end no matter what? Do we just take Winston? This is a very tough spot. Let's just take Tua Tagovailoa. It is what it is. This team is not going to be that exciting. So we're going to construct this team with 3 quarterbacks, 5 running backs, 8 receivers, 2 tight ends. That Tua pick would be very exciting to stack in with Will Fuller if it wasn't for the fact that we had Jalen Hurts. And what you're kind of looking for in a league like this where we don't have access to the waiver wire, so we're having to go through and make very precise selections with our roster construction, is if you only have to draft 2 quarterbacks, you're going to be in a great spot knowing that you can get an extra spot for one of your wide receivers for throughout the season. But usually when you take Jalen Hurts and a quarterback in the range of Tua Tagovailoa, you're fine only going with 2 options. Like if we had Matt Ryan making it to us at the 13-14 turn, then we're going to go with the Matt Ryan there, no question. And we're going to stack Jalen Hurts and Matt Ryan together, and then we're not going to have to consider any other quarterbacks the rest of the draft. But now we probably have to grab a Jared Goff. To cover up for that week. Okay, so now let me go through. Eric says, I know you're really not doing them, but it's the last night and my Wi-Fi doesn't allow me in the $10 drafts. My man, we're in a $10 draft right now. I'll say we're in a $10 draft right now. And Fantasy Dog coming out with the donation says, thank you so much. Says, thank you, sir. Did I mess up? I just now deposited $100 using Flock promo code, not $10. I'm not that smart. My man, okay, I'll say if you deposited $100 on Underdog Fantasy and if you want to get into a bunch of drafts with us this season, that's completely fine. We're going to be doing so many drafts where I promise you that you can spend that $100 and you can hopefully win more than that. But if you did only intend to go through and deposit $10 in Underdog Fantasy, if you were to send a message to their customer support, I'm sure that they would go through and they would get that fixed for you ASAP. But of course, thank you so much for the donation, my man. Thank you so much for using promo code FLOCK in Underdog Fantasy. Make sure you shoot me a message anywhere with the email that you signed up with. That way I can get you the draft guide, the rankings, the Dynasty Rookie Draft Guide. It's like hundreds of pages of information. Really want to get you that. And also, guys, I definitely recommend when you're signing up for Underdog Fantasy, just deposit $10. Just deposit $10 because you're going to get a $25 bonus no matter what. You're going to get our 2021 Fantasy Football Draft Guide no matter what. You're going to get our Dynasty Rookie Draft Guide. You're going to get our rankings. You get all of that it's the same thing for a $10 deposit versus a $100 deposit. I will tell you right now, when you deposit $10 on Underdog Fantasy, that's probably going to be your first one. Once you spend that $10 in fantasy drafts, then you're probably going to go make that $100 deposit afterwards, but might as well just go through and only do the 10. That way you can figure out if you like the platform. But I promise you, if you ask the people in the live chat right now, everybody's going to tell you that they love Underdog. Joey coming out with the donation says, hey, Mason, I can start 3 wide receivers in a flex. Who do you think? Laviska, Cooks, Chase, Gage, Juju, Mike Davis, full point PPR. It says, who is your all-time favorite NFL player? Okay, my all-time favorite NFL player, to be completely honest, is going to be Andre Johnson. So yeah, we're going to go Andre Johnson, my favorite all-time NFL player. My first fantasy draft ever. I actually stacked Matt Schaub and Andre Johnson. That's really how I became a Houston Texans fan, just rooting for them. But yeah, here we're starting 3 wide receivers in a flex. I mean, I think that you easily have to start Mike Davis in your flex without really thinking about it too much. And then Russell Gage is also going to be a play because we don't necessarily know exactly what the role is going to look like for Kyle Pitts right away. So we're going to be playing Russell Gage. You play Laviska Shenault between Brandon Cooks, Jamar Chase, Juju Smith-Schuster. 99% of these picks are going to be going to Jamar Chase once we get past week 1. But in week 1 in particular, I actually think that it's going to be tough to make that call. I think we'd go Brandon Cooks over Jamar Chase just for week 1, to be honest. Okay, so Giovanni Bernard at the 1505, Ryan Fitzpatrick at the 1506. Okay, so now once we see those other quarterbacks go off the board, I think we are fine with our Tua Tagovailoa selection, but we are in a spot where we need to draft. Okay, so we're going to need to draft one more quarterback, one more running back, and one more wide receiver throughout the rest of this draft. I'm not going to be drafting a quarterback at this turn, at least most likely I'm not. We will end up seeing based on who falls to us. Jaggy says 7 to start the 250. Okay, we'll get, based on Victor's generous donation, thank you again, Victor. We'll get a $250 draft going on this live stream. I will go over to the main page on Underdog Fantasy, and this will probably be our last $250 draft of the season. This will probably be the last big dog draft that we do this season. So let me go through and pull this up. And yeah, so there's 6 spots left in that $250 big dog draft. If y'all want to get in with us, that's going to be the draft after this. And we're still going to get another draft going after the $250 one. So you still can get in a $10 draft with us after that. But let's go through. Let's pull this up. I actually think that Damian Williams is like a kind of a no-brainer selection here, knowing that he is going to have a pass-catching role on the Chicago Bears. And also he does have 3-down upside if David Montgomery does get injured, because right now it does not look like things are positive for your guy, Tariq Cohen, in Chicago. So outside of that, we are going to get Nico Collins. I'm actually excited about Nico Collins playing in all 2 wide receiver sets for the Houston Texans. While yes, it's pretty much a gross team. While yes, Nico Collins is not that talented, at the end of the day, it's going to be a player getting a lot of opportunity. And there are 3 spots left in that $250 draft. Let me go through and show off this entire draft board for anybody just now coming in to the live stream. And if you're just now coming into the stream, make sure you go down there, drop a like on the live stream, subscribe to the channel. We are making videos every single day. Waiver wire, start, sit. I'm going to be answering a ton of start, sit questions in these streams. So make sure you subscribe. Hit the bell next to the subscribe button if you actually want to come out to our live streams. But it looks like this $250 draft is going to be filled right now. So what I need from y'all right now, this $250 draft just filled. I'm about to put this on the main screen. You need to take every positive thought that you've ever had from your childhood, from your entire life ever, and you need to put all that positive energy into, let's call it your thumb this time, your thumb right here at the very tip. Go down there, drop a like on the live stream, send out those well wishes, give us the 101. This is a $250 draft. Let me grab this, drag it over here. I'm going to drop it. We're going to see this together at this pick that I actually ended up getting. The 107. Okay, so I guess y'all did not call enough positive energy on us. But if we go through, if we check out who is in this draft with us, we got Kingview Mead. Actually talked to him today about possibly making a Fantasy Flock Network drink. That is, of course, extremely exciting. We have Zigzag. We have drafted with him before. He was, honestly, I think, if I remember correctly, he was a very good drafter. We have Cognition. Everybody, all the OGs in this live stream right now know who Cognition is. I know a lot of people in here don't like Cognition and assume that I don't. I'm excited to see Cognition in here because the majority of drafts that I've seen Cognition do, while yes, his last few have gotten better, the majority of them, they have not looked to be the best. Now, what the heck? Okay, so Ship It. Do y'all see that little logo that he has on his dog? Okay, I'm about to have to put my face on the screen real quick to figure that. Is this like a Gatorade thing? I've never seen that little emblem on Underdog Fantasy. Like, y'all see that, right? I'm not losing my mind. We've drafted with Brady before. We've drafted with Glory Fades before. Glory Fades is a tough person. Oh my gosh. This is going to be a horrendous draft, guys. We're going up against some heavy hitters. The 106 and the 108, these are like the last 2 people I want to be drafting against. And we're sandwiched between them. I'm imagining that we're going to be getting sniped on a lot of these picks. This is going to be Oh, this is going to be a tough draft, guys. It's going to be a very tough draft. Okay, so Zeke goes at the 105. Glory fades on the clock. We're going to get 1 to 2 players that we really want here. So I'm completely fine with the first round. We're going to get our guy, Davante Adams. And I know a lot of people are not going to like this draft from us. I can tell you right now. But guys, keep in mind, this is not my first rodeo. We have done so many $250 drafts this year. We've done 200 real money fantasy football drafts total at least. And you have to keep in mind, in this $250 draft, you're not only going up against these 11 other people. So what's going to happen on Underdog when you enter into these public contests, you can do a private contest like we're actually doing in the live chat and everything. But if you go and you enter in a Best Ball Mania, if you enter into the puppy, or if you enter into the big dog, this is the big dog right here. So we're going up against the 11 other owners in this league, and first and second place and third place, of course, they all get paid money for getting first, second, and third in the league. But more importantly, first and second place get a prize ticket to go to the fantasy football playoff tournament. And that's when you have the serious prizes at the top. That's when you have the $100,000. That's when you have the $50,000. And so we are trying to create the highest upside team humanly possible to take that down. So yeah, let's go with a Davante Adams. But just to make sure that everybody is on the same page here, this is going to be an exciting $250 draft. I'm happy we got into it. Yes, we're going up against some very tough drafters here. Yes, we're going to be battling it out. But I think based on what we have put together in the last few $250 drafts we've done, I think we're going to crush. Okay, so we're on the clock in the other league. Let's go back and pull that up. And it looks like here we need to go QB and receiver. Sorry, guys. I'm looking at the other draft we're in right now. It's just going to take me 1 second. It's the last pick that we have to make in it. Okay, there we go. Done with that. Now we can focus our full attention to this $250 draft. Okay, this is going to be exciting. You guys, if you are not subscribed to the channel yet, this is a great time to go down there, subscribe to the channel. We're going to be doing live streams every single night during the season, make videos every single day. Mean Bean coming out with a donation says, a draft in 20 minutes, 12-man standard, and I pick 11. Should I be concerned about Austin Ekeler? What advice do you have? I will say that at the 111, I was never really taking Austin Ekeler. Instead, I would prefer to go with the Jonathan Taylor, especially now with Austin Ekeler injury. I will say don't go and just completely lose your mind due to this injury. And I know a lot of people are going to look at us and assume that we are losing our minds right now as we take a Darren Waller to go and get him on the same team as a Davante Adams. This is something that I'm doing every single time I'm not in a live stream when I'm in a draft with just myself, and this is going to be something I'm doing right now as well. Okay, so I would go with a Jonathan Taylor over Austin Ekeler. Now, it's not necessarily because of the injury. If Ekeler falls to you at the 202, that's when we have to consider him. But running backs that I would prefer in this range, especially now with the injury, I think you have to take Taylor. You have to take Saquon Barkley. And who else are we taking over Austin Ekeler right here? I'm taking Ridley, Diggs, Hill, Adams as well. I think you do have to just maybe slide him down 1 or 2 spots. But keep in mind, guys, I think a lot of people are going to be losing their minds about Austin Ekeler, even though we are going to be getting every single day throughout the entire season. Every single day, you're going to get a little burb that says, a player X, running back X, did not practice today. Running back X was limited in practice. And by the time we get to week 2, you're going to be so desensitized to it. I can't speak. You're just going to swipe away the notification without even thinking about it. The problem is it's week 1 right now, so everybody isn't used to that feeling. So when we get that notification about Austin Ekeler, everybody really wants to go through and lose their minds. Derek says, you're welcome for Waller, LOL. Yeah, I think that getting a Darren Waller here is going to be intriguing. Okay, so Cognition goes Clyde Edwards-Helaire at the 210 ahead of Joe Mixon. I cannot advise that. Okay, so Pedro coming out with a donation. Thank you, my man. Says, sup, should I start Viska, Deebo Samuel, or Allen Robinson? Allen Robinson definitely has a tough matchup going up against Jalen Ramsey. Still, you can't be dropping him that much in your rankings. I actually dropped Allen Robinson a considerable amount in our rankings and tiers video that came out earlier today. But still, we have him over those other guys. Go with Allen Robinson. Okay, so now Keenan Allen at the 211. And I'm just ready for some hate comments on this draft. I'm just ready for it. And Gavin says, hey, Mason, what two do I start out of Robert Woods, Corey Davis, and Miles Sanders? Full PPR, part 2, LOL. Okay, so you want to go with Robert Woods here in between Miles Sanders, Corey Davis. I would prefer Miles Sanders. So I'd go Robert Woods and Miles Sanders. Joe Mixon does go at the 212. We have started a $250 draft before with Christian McCaffrey and Joe Mixon, and I honestly got a little bit worried what it was going to do for us at wide receiver later on. Now, the one thing that we do not want to see here, and it's going to be a tough draft if we do end up having it, is George Kittle making it back to us. At this point, okay, if George Kittle was going to make it back, I would have probably been crying based on us passing on Nick Chubb to take Darren Waller in the previous round. But a big thing is, guys, with this roster construction, keep in mind we don't have access to the waiver wire, and also how it works on Underdog is y'all are probably wondering, how am I going to be in 200 fantasy drafts this upcoming season? It's because you don't have to submit your starting lineup each and every week. Instead of submitting your starting lineup each and every week, what you actually have is a computer automated submitted lineup for you at the end of the week based on your highest available scores. So it does change a few things with your roster construction overall. So it does give an added bonus to those elite level tight ends. That's why you end up seeing a Travis Kelce go here at the 106. So I am going to be willing to push up Darren Waller. I don't want to say Darren Waller's in the same tier as a Travis Kelce, but I mean, I'm fine taking Waller over Chubb, AJ Brown, because at this point we get to pass on the other tight ends, guys like Dallas Goedert. We get to pass on the other tight ends later on in the draft. I mean, maybe you are looking at a Tyler Higbee thinking he's going to be overdrafted. Well, we don't even have to consider taking those guys. Okay, so Allen Robinson at the 305. And I'll say, guys, real quick, to address everybody freaking out about injuries, if you're going to be preparing for injuries this upcoming season, I will just give y'all a little warning that I've given out to people throughout the offseason at the same time. When you are watching a video based on someone describing an injury, think about the incentives of the people making that video. They are incentivized to go through and make the injury as big of news as possible. They are incentivized to, every time they see a little injury blurb, to think in their mind, how do I make a video based on this? So with that in mind, just be very hesitant of what you are considering real news. Okay? And that's all I'm going to say about that. I'm not saying that about anything today, but throughout the season, keep that in the back of your mind going, okay, we have to understand that there are people that want to make content. They want to do it about this specific thing. So, I mean, you kind of have to sit around, wait for something. So if there's not anything there for you automatically, you're going to go and find something. Okay. So I will say that, guys. Matthew coming out with the donation says, do I start Henderson over David Montgomery this week? Yes. I mean, the Los Angeles Rams are actually like 7.5 point favorites over the Bears. You definitely want to do that. And Fantasy Dog coming out with the donation says, FYI, they gave me the extra $25 extra using the flock code in it says in a $5 puppy 3 draft. And now, thank you. No, my man, thank you so much for using promo code flock on Underdog Fantasy. Like I said, nothing helps this channel more. And I'm happy that you got that $25 added on. And guys, if you haven't heard already, we are drafting on Underdog Fantasy. This is where we've been drafting every single day for, I don't even know how long now. And we're going to be doing so many fun things here during the season as well. And there's a current glitch in the system that I don't know when they're fixing it. I haven't heard about them fixing it anytime soon, but I would just go out and take advantage of this glitch before they do decide to. So when you go and make a $10 deposit on Underdog Fantasy, there's like this little blank space underneath that says like a promo code. Maybe that's how you say it. And if you type in FLOCK, right here, if you type that in, promo code FLOCK, you actually get $25 added to your account with a $10 deposit. You get our 2021 rankings. You get our 2021 tiers. You get our 2021 draft guide or 2021 Dynasty Rookie draft guide. I'm assuming this is a glitch because there's no way off a $10 deposit that y'all are supposed to be getting like $100 worth of value. And at the same time, I mean, for whatever reason, when y'all use that glitch, it's been helping out our channel considerably. It's been supporting our channel a lot. So I would go and definitely make sure you take advantage of that ASAP. And we're going to get Julio Jones here. I know a lot of people want us to go with the running back, but trust me, guys, we need to be stacking up these wide receivers based on what's going to happen later on in this draft. So yeah, we're going to go with Devontae Adams, Terry McLaurin, Julio Jones. You have to start 3 wide receivers every single week. I promise you, we've done a lot of these $250 drafts before we know how they're going to go. So yeah, this is going to be a very common start. I already told y'all at the beginning of the live stream, I knew we were going to get a lot of hate for this start in particular. But yeah, let's go with our guy, Julio Jones. I think he can give us a bunch of spike weeks. I'm expecting a massive week this week against the Arizona Cardinals. Okay, so now we have Odell Beckham Jr., Adam Thielen going directly after. So seeing Odell go here, this is exciting. I mean, we want to start seeing these wide receivers go off the board. I think after the Adam Thielen, I mean, did Brandon Ayuk already get selected? I think Brandon Ayuk's probably the last wide receiver in this current tier, and then it does get really gross. So you have a Robinson going at the 410 to Cognition. Cognition, this is someone that always drafts Kyle Pitts in the third. They always get a decent amount of running backs, and then usually in about the 6th round, that's when they start slamming wide receiver, and they will mix in a few extra tight ends. Like you see them go after like Noah Fant a lot. We've seen Cognition in a decent amount of these $250 drafts. Stoney says, yeah, that 12 spot's looking real nice. Okay, so the 12 spot went Ridley, Hopkins, Carson, Montgomery. Interesting. I'll say I think they have a very high floor. I'm unsure with the ceiling. But that is 100% true. They do have an extremely high floor for this season. And guys, if you have not to already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We are about to hit 35,000 subscribers. A big day today. Big day. We're going to hit 35,000 subscribers on this live stream. We're making videos every single day, going through and live streaming every single day as well. So there's no better place. And y'all have seen it. I've let y'all witness it firsthand. Nobody has done as many real money fantasy football drafts as I have. No one has come close to us on YouTube. I mean, I'm out here battling in the streets for this money. And I think that y'all should really see exactly at least my thought process on how we can construct a team. Now we have a Brandon Ayuk at the 412, Josh Allen at the 501. Kingview Mead goes Mike Davis at the 502. Very intriguing. I'm not a fan of the Mike Davis selection, but we have talked about this before. When you're selecting at the 101, when you're selecting at the 102, the same thing at the 111 or the 112, it's really hard to call any pick in particular a quote unquote reach, just because you're going to have so long between your selections. Okay, so at the 507, Lamar Jackson goes right before us. Oh, don't make us do it. Glory fades on the clock. Let's see what they do. I need to be quiet here. It's a $250 draft. I can't be giving picks away. Okay, so let's see. They have Chubb, Kupp, Adam Thielen, and Travis Kelce. They have Travis Kelce on this team at the same time. They go Deontay Johnson. Okay, so if they weren't going to take Deontay Johnson, we were going to have to take him in the middle of the 5th, and that would have been our flex, and I know we would have gotten a million people screaming in the comment section. So instead, we're going to get our running back 1 here in Miles Sanders. If we go back and review what we did previously, if y'all want to go and tell me, Mason, you messed up. Okay, so here in the 4th round, we passed on DeAndre Swift, James Robinson to get Julio Jones, and then we can get Miles Sanders in the 5th. So let me know what y'all prefer. Do you prefer Julio Jones and Miles Sanders, or do you prefer James Robinson and Chase Claypool? I easily prefer Julio Jones and Miles Sanders. And honestly, it's not even that close for me. So yeah, I'm excited about our decision there. I think we completely crushed that, to be honest. Okay, so now let's go through and Jamar Chase at the 510 by Shibit. Okay, they are a highly experienced drafter. And I don't know if we had anybody in the live chat ever come out and tell us exactly what this little emblem meant here. But it's scary. We know it's scary. Okay, so Jamar Chase, then after this, I don't even know what we're wanting to see go off the board, because I'm fine continuing to take wide receivers. I know we are loaded up at receiver. We have a better wide receiver room than anybody else in the league currently. We have the elite level tight end. We have one of the worst. Actually, we have the worst running back room in the league with only Miles Sanders. But I'm completely fine with this construction so far. Okay, so Devonta Smith at the 601. And I'm sorry if I'm not checking the live chat as much, guys. We'll get some $10 drafts going after this. That way y'all can get in for everybody who used promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy. And then I can go through and I can check out the live chat a little bit more. But this is a $250 draft, and a $250 draft, I have to make sure I'm giving it all my attention. I mean, we have done a lot of drafts where I've kind of been reading the chat halfway through, and then it always puts us in a very difficult spot where I think it's a lot better for us to just go through and just focus in on the draft right now. Maybe when we get in the later rounds, we can read the chat a little more. Okay, so Antonio Brown at the 604. Derek is on the clock here. Let's see what he does. He has yet to take a running back. Actually, so we don't have the worst running back room in the league. He goes Gus Edwards. So at this point, I think it's clear, right? We take Javonte Williams. So the receivers all in this range are about in the same tier, and we're not at a point where we have to reach on wide receiver. So yeah, let's go with Javonte Williams as our running back 2 here to get together with a Miles Sanders. So yeah, I really like what we've done so far with this team. I think this team has a ton of upside. And now we're not going to be at a spot where we have to reach on a running back anymore. So we can just draft wide receivers 7, 8, and 9 now, and we're not going to be too concerned. If we're talking about stacks that we can have with this team, we could go with an Aaron Rodgers in the 8th round. We could get Ryan Fitzmagic at the very end. We could get Derek Carr at the very end. We could get Ryan Tannehill about in the 10th. Okay, so we did have a donation coming out to the channel. Let me go through and check out where that was from. Peter coming out says, what 2 do I play in the flex? Higgins, Hunt, or Henderson? You really have to go with Higgins and Henderson there. I mean, Henderson's a guy that I think the more and more we think about it, the more it looks like he is going to be a strong play this week. I mean, that team is massive favorites over the Bears, guys. That game isn't supposed to be close at all. And also, Sony Michel just got added on. So Darrell Henderson's going to be someone that you really want to be playing. Miles says, low-key, Mason has the best team here. Can someone copy and paste that message from Miles and figure out how I can put a bot in the chat that just sends that like every 5 minutes or so throughout every draft that we do? That would be very useful. That would be good for the self-esteem. That would really help me out, boost the confidence in these drafts, my dudes. Okay, so we got Chase Edmonds at the 6'11" by Kingview Mead. So yeah, this is why I was saying I didn't necessarily love this Mike Davis selection here at the 502, because I think at this point, like someone like Chase Edmonds isn't that far off from what you actually had with Mike Davis, whereas you had to end up passing on the elite level quarterbacks like a Kyler Murray, a Lamar Jackson to go through and grab that running back. So there was some opportunity cost, as well as passing up on receivers like Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, Jamar Chase, Robbie Anderson. Yeah, so here you have Zigzag, Kareem Hunt at the 6'12". Okay, so with these 2 running back selections, I'm happy about us going through and getting Javonte Williams at the 606. Dakota says, high key, Mason has the worst team here. Okay, that's the message we're usually used to. That's the message we're used to. Let's scroll up, show off this draft board for anybody just now coming into the stream. And if you are just now coming out to the stream, make sure you drop a like on the live stream. L4D says, so underdog, deposit, and get your rankings. Yes, if you don't know how it works already, all you have to do is go to the link in the description of the chat. Deposit $10 on Underdog Fantasy. That's where we've been live drafting every single night for I don't even know how long. And when you make that $10 deposit on Underdog Fantasy with promo code FLOCK, you actually get $25 added to your account. You get our 2021 rankings. You get our 2021 draft guide, our 2021 Dynasty Rookie Draft Guide. I mean, if you include the $25 that Underdog's adding to your account, that's literally a $100 value for a $10 deposit. And it helps out our channel a ton. So please make sure y'all take advantage. Nothing helps out this channel more. You can find a link in the description of the video. You can find it in the live chat. And we're going to be doing so many fun things on Underdog Fantasy throughout the entire season. I mean, you're just now getting to see just the intro of it based on what we did leading up with drafts going up until kickoff. I mean, it's going to be very fun, guys. Glory Fades back up on the clock. Like I said, I am not going to be excited about drafting between these guys. Like whenever we see someone that we may like making it back to us, yeah, they go Tyler Boyd. I'm going to have to really refrain from getting excited about any of our players until we are literally actually on the clock, because I think a lot of these picks, we're just going to end up getting sniped on. I actually think we may go... We're going to end up going Damien Harris. So Damien Harris is a running back that I was advocating for you to avoid him in drafts earlier this offseason. And I think he is still someone with a limited ceiling based on his lack of receiving down usage. But at the end of the day, we are looking at this draft room for a $500 league being a lot more running back heavy than we're used to. And I think when we get Damien Harris, we cover up for the production here. So wide receiver is a flat tier. I don't love that Damien Harris selection. And like I said, I mean, he's not someone that I was advocating for you to draft very often at all. But I mean, they get rid of Cam Newton, jack the hell up Damien Harris. They trade away Sony Michel, jack him up. We still love Ramondre Stevenson that we are going to get a lot later on some other teams. But I think based on this price, we're going to be fine with it. And Matthew coming out with the donation. Thank you, my man. Says, do I start Michael Gallup or Odell Beckham Jr.? There we want to start Odell Beckham Jr. going up against the Kansas City Chiefs. We know one reason you're not a massive fan of Odell this year in fantasy is strictly because we know that the Browns are going to run the ball. Well, when you're going up against the Chiefs, you don't have that luxury. When you're going up against the Chiefs, I mean, you're going to be in a spot where you more so have to actually go through and, I mean, in the second half, you're going to have to try to win the game. You're going to have to try to score points. And that's not just going to be running up down the field with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Okay, so Michael Thomas at the 801, Justin Herbert at the 802. Okay, so this team here gets the Mike Williams and Justin Herbert stack. So let's pull this back up. And at wide receiver, we're lacking here. We only have 3 wide receivers on this team with Adams, McLaurin, and Julio Jones. So there are 3 top end wide receivers, and we have the elite level tight end with the Darren Waller. But, okay, so if we're also talking about a roster construction standpoint, here we're only going to have 4 or 5 running backs, 2 tight ends. So we're going to be able to load up on so many bodies at receiver. So Ladaddy does snipe us on an Aaron Rodgers. So if we would have had Aaron Rodgers falling to us, we would have taken him to stack with a Davante Adams. Now that's no longer available. We are going to be going with the wide receiver. Now the receiver that we're going to be taking, that is in question. So a DJ Chark, I think, is going to be a little rich here. I mean, I actually think that someone that have we been taking him in too many of these drafts? I feel like we've been taking him in too many of these drafts. But we're going to take him in another one right now. We're going to take Brandon Cooks. This is someone that I'm very overweight on as we're just looking at him as an option. I was going to get so many targets in Houston in a very bad offense that has nowhere else to go. We know Brandon Cooks is a talented player, so it's not like we're necessarily betting on someone in a bad situation that's not talented that we think is going to get targets. And then all of a sudden they don't. I mean, look at a Brashad Perriman. This is like if Brashad Perriman was talented. That's essentially what the Brandon Cooks play is. I think if we actually go through and we're playing in a league where you can't submit a starting lineup every week, in that scenario, we're going to go with the DJ Chark because I think DJ Chark will have a more predictable role once we get to that part of the season. But here, let's go with the Brandon Cooks. Let's go with Cooks. I think that he's actually a little bit better for this format in particular. Okay, so Elijah Moore goes at the 809. Maybe we should have considered Elijah Moore. Y'all know how much I love Elijah Moore coming out of Ole Miss. Cognition on the clock goes Rondale Moore at the 810. Okay, so we are in the middle of that wide receiver run. In the middle of the wide receiver run, Marquez Callaway at the 811. And William coming out with the donation. Thank you, my man. Says Clyde Edwards-Helaire, James Robinson, Devontae Adams, Amari Cooper, Odell Beckham Jr., Tyler Lockett. Thoughts? I'll say it's a very strong team. It's hard for me to say that much about it. I mean, you have a low-end running back 1, high-end running back 2 in Clyde Edwards-Helaire, a low-end running back 1, high-end running back 2 in James Robinson. You have an elite wide receiver 1 in Devontae Adams. You have a low-end wide receiver 1, high-end wide receiver 2 with Amari. You have a wide receiver 3 with Odell. You have a wide receiver 2, at least a wide receiver 2, 3 borderline with Tyler Lockett. So it's a pretty good team. It's a pretty good team, at least in a 12-man format. Okay, so now let me go through and see if we have anything else out here. Trey Lance at the 812. Honestly, kind of fine seeing Trey Lance go. We don't have any potential to stack with Trey Lance. That's not going to be the quarterback range that we are targeting. And this is a $250 draft for anybody just now coming into the live stream. If you are just now coming into the live stream, make sure you go down there, drop a like, subscribe to the channel. It helps us out a ton, my dudes. It helps us out a ton. So A.J. Dillon goes at the 901. That's good. We did not want to be in a world where we are having to consider A.J. Dillon. I mean, A.J. Dillon is a great running back, but on this build in particular, when we already have a Miles Sanders, Javonte Williams, Damian Harris, bringing in another running back in the 9th round would have been very rich when we're going to have to try to continue to stockpile these receivers. I mean, at receiver, we're still pretty damn strong, but we would still like to bring in more guys. Adams, McLaurin, Julio, Brandon Cooks. Keep in mind, this is a league where you have to start 3 wide receivers every week. And with this being best ball wide receivers are going to go a little bit earlier. Marvin Jones at the 904. Okay, I need to stop just commentating over this and I need to start getting ready and looking at our pick. We have a bunch of stuff to research while we're on the clock here. Okay, I actually think I know where we're going to go. Let's see what Glory Fades does. They've taken 5 wide receivers. So they have Kupp, Thielen, Deontay, Boyd, Jarvis. I wouldn't be surprised if they go with another receiver. Okay, no, they go with Ronald Jones. So we are going to get Darnell Mooney falling to us. Darnell Mooney's not someone I've been drafting in that many leagues, but we're getting him about 12 picks behind his ADP right here. So yeah, let's take Darnell Mooney. I mean, I think he is more appealing in best ball because he's going to be that vertical threat that we don't have to know exactly when to put him into our starting lineup. Okay, so now let's slide this down at the 107. Okay, so yeah, now perfect. We get these tight ends going off the board. When we have Darren Waller in the second round, we want to see these tight ends going. So get Higbee, get Dallas Goedert off the board. Help us out here. Have some other players that we want falling to us. Because guys, I promise you, wide receiver's gonna dry up, and it's gonna be disgusting in this format not that long from now. Ian says, do you play DFS? Yes, I play DFS. I am not good enough at DFS to come out here and advise y'all. I will say, be very wary if anybody makes a video and they are trying to tell you that they are a winning DFS player and that they know what they're doing. The DFS community, if you're looking at who actually wins, it's a very, very, very small subsection. There were a lot of people that are now producing content that used to actually be able to win in DFS contests about 4 or 5 years ago before everybody had access to projections. But now that everybody has access to projections and you still have that very small subsection of people that actually have their own algorithms running everything and they're just mass entering into contest, the amount of the population that plays DFS that's actually profitable is very, very, very small. This is the same thing that we say about sports betting, that I really want y'all to be a little wary of people that are trying to tell you that they are profitable players and trying to sell you some kind of package or whatever. Now, yes, DFS is very fun, which is why I do it. I don't try to come out here and act like I'm a very profitable player. We may be doing some fun things on Underdog Fantasy. I'm not going to try to sit here and pretend like I'm going to win you $1 million though. Why we actually have fantasy football as our primary focus here is because I don't know if y'all have noticed, but there are still a ton of fantasy football drafters that are very bad, and you can be very profitable in fantasy football where DFS is just significantly harder, because if you don't know, the guys that win in DFS aren't the guys that know football. The guys that win in DFS are the people that, I mean, are old poker players, are people that just go through and grind out the algorithm. Okay, so now that we're on the clock, it does suck seeing Jacoby Myers go right before us. Zach Moss has been someone we're drafting a lot. Don't necessarily know if he's going to be intriguing here. It's more so, do we want to take Ryan Tannehill or do we want another wide receiver? And I actually think with the receivers in this range, when we already have Adams, McLaurin, Julio Jones, Brandon Cooks, Darnell Mooney, we're not in a spot where we're going to be desperate. We do have the potential to go through and stack Tannehill with the Julio Jones. So let's grab Ryan Tannehill at the 10:06. I know a lot of people aren't going to like that selection for us to take him over Tom Brady, but I am expecting a few more quarterbacks to go back off the board. We are not going to have the chance to take a Ryan Tannehill making it back to us. Really, that's going to be the only stack that I'm that intrigued with. I know maybe a lot of people are going to want us to go and get a Justin Fields in the next round, and possibly we do that, but I don't know. I don't know. Okay, so Oliver coming out with a question says, should I trade Mike Davis and Marquez Callaway for DeAndre Swift? Personally, if you're playing in a very shallow 2021 redraft format where you only start 2 running backs, 2 receivers, and a flex, their Marquez Callaway is actually a lot less valuable because we know you're never going to be in a position where you really need to go that deep. So yes, I would actually prefer just going up and paying for DeAndre Swift. I am personally not someone that loves Mike Davis, however, so keep that in mind. And also with the DeAndre Swift, you have to understand that he's going to have a very bad week this upcoming week in a very tough matchup. But for the entire season, yes, I would go out there and I would trade for DeAndre Swift. Okay, so Steven says CS Ram is saying, wait, is that CS Ram? Okay, so yeah, no, this guy is, let's check out what this guy's draft is doing. He is probably significantly smarter than I am in this league, to be honest. There are a few, whenever we get into a $250 draft, I am always the first person to admit that I am not the smartest guy in the room, that if anything, I'm probably the dumbest guy in the room before jumping into a $250 public league. This guy here is most likely way better at me than this contest. So let's go through his own draft instead of comparing it to mine. Here he decides to grab 2 running backs at the beginning with Saquon Barkley, Austin Eckler. Then he gets his receivers in the middle rounds with Evans, Moore, Robbie Anderson. He gets the, I don't want to say elite tight end, but the guy that you feel comfortable only building 2 tight ends around, Mike Williams. He stacks him with Justin Herbert. Then you get Hollywood Brown, Melvin Gordon. Okay, so very intriguing team. Yeah, so that's a strong team. You can kind of tell that that guy is, I'm telling you right now, guys, that guy's most likely a better, I want to say for confidence that he's most likely a better drafter than me. Okay, so now we have Kenyon Drake going at the 11:02. When we have 3 running backs, I'm not dying to grab another guy here. Justin Fields goes at the 11:01. So even if we were to consider a quarterback, I mean, Justin Fields is not going to be that guy. And Zigzag continues to pass on wide receiver. If you look at this here, he has a very few number of wide receivers, which is going to put him in a very difficult spot unless he just makes a complete pivot and loads up on exclusively wide receivers after this. So now when we're going to be on the clock, we'll be in a spot where, I mean, we don't necessarily want to consider that many of these quarterbacks. We don't have the potential to stack, and we already have a Ryan Tannehill, so there's no real reason. So if instead we're going to be looking at the rest of the draft board, I actually think that it will make a little more sense to grab a running back here. I think if we grab Tony Pollard, we'll be in a spot where we only have to draft 5 running backs in this room. Or, yeah, we're going to go Tony Pollard. I think he is one of the last guys in this tier before we see a tier drop off. So we're going to take Pollard over Michael Carter. I know not that many people are going to agree with it, but it is what it is. So let's take Tony Pollard. Okay, so now let's move this down. Okay, Steven says, not set. Okay, so he's a host on something. Okay, my man, I thought you were meaning that he is a, because, you know, I thought you were meaning he is a professional DFS player. Like, he doesn't necessarily host any content or anything. I thought you were scaring me. I thought this was some guy that was like a poker player or something. Okay, so now, Ian says, Scissors Death Runs Goated. Yeah, guys, if you don't know, the other day we actually had Scissors in this chat. It was a pretty fun live stream. Okay, Burrow at the 11:10. Okay, so probably a good thing that we grab some of those running backs in this range now that we're seeing these other guys go off in the tier. I mean, now the only real running back that we could be even looking at this next round would be someone like a Leonard Fournette. Okay, so also, guys, if you are just now joining this live stream, I have to tell you about what we are currently doing. We are getting in a draft on Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy does so many cool things throughout the entire season when we're going to be doing so many things live streaming on their platform. And right now on Underdog Fantasy, there is a glitch that y'all have to take advantage of. I have no idea how they have not fixed this. I have no idea how they have not fixed it. But on Underdog Fantasy, when you make a $10 deposit with promo code FLOCK, you can find the link in the description of the video. When you type in promo code FLOCK in Underdog Fantasy, for whatever reason, with that $10 deposit, they're adding $25 to your account. You're getting our 2021 rankings. You're getting our 2021 draft guide. You're getting our 2021 tiers. That's like a $100 value if you include the $25 you're getting added to your account for a $10 deposit. Okay, so definitely take advantage of that, my dudes. Definitely take advantage of that. Okay, so now let's go through. Okay, Scissors coming out to the draft says, how are the drafts going? My man, happy to have you out. And yeah, they're going well. We are in a $250 draft right now with some crushers. These guys, we're probably out of our element, to be honest. These guys are probably taking my $250 and they're probably laughing at us, but we had a pretty big donation early in the live stream, so we felt the need to take a shot. Now we're going to be back on the clock. I guess we are going to go with a wide receiver here. So obviously, Paris Campbell rising with the injury to T.Y. Hilton. Like we said, you could have been looking at Leonard Fournette making it back to us. I think that with the receivers going off the board, there aren't that many guys that I'm regretful on our last round decision. We are going to have to continue to bring wide receivers in here. Maybe someone that we should go with over Nelson Aguilar would be Tyrell Williams. No, let's just grab Aguilar. I think that he'll be, I mean, he was going before this in the majority of drafts, so maybe that helps us create a little more of a unique team. So let's go through and scroll this down from here. Okay, perfect. Yeah, the past 3 rounds maybe hasn't been our greatest showing. No, we're fine with Tannehill. Pollard at the 11:07, I'm also fine with. But if we're looking back, like if I'm trying to convince us to go with someone other than Tony Pollard, knowing that we could have gotten a Michael Carter falling to us in the 12th, like the problem is, who am I going to take? Now you have a bunch of quarterbacks going off the board. You never see Zach Wilson going at the 12:09. Like that Zach Wilson pick is extremely aggressive. This team does have Elijah Moore. Maybe they have another Jet up there. Actually, there are no more Jets going higher than Elijah Moore in drafts. They could have Corey Davis. Did they get Davis? No, they didn't get Corey Davis. So that is a very intriguing pick to go with Zach Wilson at the 12:09. I really don't understand that. Okay, so now after this, Paris Campbell at the 12:11. Zigzag is having to take some wide receivers here. Like, let's go and scroll up to the top of the draft. And we're just now getting into this. I mean, I think that Zigzag, this team has to be dead, guys. Like, mathematically speaking, when you have Brandon Ayuk, Terrace Marshall, AJ Green at receiver, I mean, you took Josh Allen, Trey Lance, Justin Fields. That team is a dead roster, is it not? Like I said, whenever we're in these $250 drafts, I'm operating under the assumption that I'm the idiot in the room. But at the same time, that seems pretty damn aggressive. Okay. So now Cole Kmet at the 1301. So another tight end coming in. Maybe he's just on auto. Maybe he went through and signed up for a $250 draft on Underdog and then it filled and he fell asleep or something. Maybe that's the scenario we are in right now. Okay, so Nico Collins at the 1303. Okay, so Cognition is all over the board right now. Cognition is loading up on a ton of receivers, however. Okay, let's pull this up. Naheem Hines at the 1305. Scissor says, no, you're still in there 250. I mean, hopefully we're still in there 250. We'll feel it. Hopefully we're stealing the entire league pot and we're getting the 100,000 at the end. But I think now at this point, like I wasn't planning on taking another running back here, but when we take Leonard Fournette, we are capped at 5 running backs. Keep in mind, I think we can invest a little bit more into the position considering we waited until the 5th to first get Miles Sanders. At the same time, we have 20 rounds in this draft compared to 18, so we can roster a couple extra wide receivers. So let's take Leonard Fournette here. His ADP is 138, and we're getting him at 151. So yeah, let's take Fournette. I mean, I wasn't even considering him in the last round, but I think we're fine here. We're fine here. Okay, so let's scroll this down. So Fournette at the 1307. Okay, so Sammy Watkins is at the 1308. At this point, guys, what we need to see is we want to see these running backs going. Get these running backs off the board. We're done drafting running back. We obviously love seeing tight ends as well whenever we have Darren Waller on this team already. So whenever you get that Alexander Mattison selection, I mean, hyping us up a little bit. And guys, if you have yet to subscribe to the channel, we are making these videos every single day. We're doing live streams every single day at the same time. Make sure y'all go down there and subscribe. We're going to hit 35,000 subscribers tonight. We just hit 34,000 2 days ago, and we're hitting 35,000 in this live stream tonight. So make sure you go down there and subscribe. Now, Sam Darnold going off. We do have to keep in mind that in this league in particular, since it's 20 rounds, there are going to be more teams that are willing to roster 3 quarterbacks. So there are more teams willing to roster 3. Tony Jones at the 1311. No, I'm fine taking Leonard Fournette over Tony Jones. So Rashad Bateman, obviously Bateman is not someone you're getting at the beginning of the season. Honestly, we can't take Bateman. You know what? I think we have an easy selection here. I know probably we're going to look back at this and regret. You know what I regret here? Oh my gosh. No, I don't regret it. We have Damian Harris. But Ramondre Stevenson, I probably shouldn't be saying this on the live chat right now for anybody wanting to get him a little later on. Still available, by far and away the best value on the board. Like, we probably should have taken him over Leonard Fournette, to be honest. But the problem is, I mean, we already had Damian Harris, so I didn't necessarily even have this thought process when we were on the clock. I didn't even see that Stevenson was available. So we're just going to use the excuse that we had Damian Harris. But yeah, I think probably Stevenson's a running back that should be going over all these guys here. And John says, who do you think is going to have the biggest breakout this season? Are we like considering price in this as well? Are we considering like position? I think if we're just ignoring price and we're talking about who is going to have that breakout that vaults him into the elite category, I would not be surprised if it's Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Let's move this down. Ty Johnson at the 1409. And maybe one day, gives my second thing we were thinking of. I hate giving the names that are obvious, like Clyde Edwards-Helaire, CeeDee Lamb. Like, we go up and look at this draft board so I can try to identify some of these big breakouts for this upcoming season. Like, if we're looking at this board right now, I mean, obviously, Laviska Shenault is screaming breakout as a player that now looks like he has just a much larger role without Travis Etienne on this team. Kind of, I don't want to say getting the gimmicky plays, but the plays closer to the line of scrimmage. if we're scrolling up, Chase Edmonds at running back's also a great candidate. I know a lot of people are looking at Chase Edmonds with the weeks that he had whenever you had both the starting running backs out in front of him through the first 2 years. And they're going, okay, well, Chase Edmonds, yeah, he had a bunch of touches, but he didn't necessarily provide the elite fantasy production. You're looking at the wrong weeks. You're looking at a very small sample of last year. And it was because the reason everybody remembers that is everybody played him. Everybody and their mom was playing Chase Edmonds in DFS. Everybody was playing them in their season-long contest. And he went out there and he got 20 touches. But the problem was the efficiency wasn't there. But we know efficiency is just something that is a little more volatile. What matters is the volume. I'm confident that Chase Edmonds is going to get that volume this year. So I think Chase Edmonds is also a great guy to consider in that. Okay, so Kirk goes at the 1501. Big Ben at the 1502. Let me pull this up real quick. Dimey Brown goes to the 1504. Okay, so is this JN's burner account going Devin Duvernay at the 1503 and a $250 draft? I think JN snuck his way into this draft, didn't he? Okay, so am I missing something here? I feel like we're maybe missing something. Okay, so Randall Cobb goes by Glory Fates. I hate drafting next to Glory Fates. We can't look at running back. We're exclusively tight end, quarterback, and receiver. So we don't have any stacks with Baker Mayfield or Kirk Cousins, but I think it is the range where, I mean, none of these wide receivers stand out that much to the point where might as well just get one of these quarterbacks. That way we're not having to draft one that much later. So let's just get Baker Mayfield. I mean, I actually probably prefer Kirk Cousins, but Baker Mayfield has the significantly higher ADP. We're drafting 3 quarterbacks on this team regardless when we wait this long. So yeah, I think in 20 rounds, whenever we have 5 running backs that we spent this kind of capital in, we waited until the 10th and then the 15th to get our top 2 quarterbacks. We're going to draft 3 guys. So yeah, let's get our first one here. And if we're drafting 3 guys, like I think if we wait until the 16th round, while we can still get a comfortable guy in the 16th, the 17th may not necessarily be an option for us. So let's grab one in the 15th and let's grab one in the 16th. Okay, so Zach Ertz goes, Jared Cook goes. So obviously we do still need a tight end. I'm not putting a massive need for it. Like I'm not freaking out about having a tight end when we have Darren Waller, but we are going to draft the second one because we don't have access to a waiver wire. Maybe one day says Cousins was the pick. You can make that argument. Nash coming out says Devin Duvernay equals Steve Smith and not me. Laughed my ass off. Okay, I'm pretty sure Cognition, like they probably reached out to each other on Twitter or something, and he's probably been reading all of Jayen's messages about Devin Duvernay crushing this season. Justin Jackson going obviously for the injury that you actually have to Austin Eckler. Evan Ingram going behind Troutman, Cook, Zach Ertz, Austin Hooper. That's very surprising. So we're going to be a spot where we're drafting quarterback yet again. We're not going to be looking at running back. Demarcus Robinson goes at the 1604, Philip Lindsay. So yeah, we're going to get both the guys that we were looking at previously with Kirk Cousins and Baker Mayfield. So yeah, keep in mind, I mean, obviously you're never doing this in a league where you have access to the waiver wire, but there's no waiver wire in this format. So we do have to be drafting multiple QBs. And I think it's going to make sense to grab 3 of them when we wait this long in a 20-round draft. I mean, if we look at our team overall, keep in mind we're right here. You can pause it. You can take a screenshot. I think we are deep enough at receiver considering the top-end talent that we have. We're only going to grab 1 more tight end, so we are going to be able to bring in 3 more receivers to this team. So we're done now at quarterback and running back. Donovan Peoples-Jones, Byron Pringle. And if y'all aren't familiar to this format, guys, obviously you are not drafting 3 quarterbacks in your regular league. You're not drafting 3 quarterbacks in your regular league. If you're doing that, you're an idiot. Never consider it. Never consider it. It's just because the format that we're playing in that we have to do that. Like we literally don't have an option, guys. So Tyler Kroft, Pat Frymuth, Dan Arnold. Okay, so now the tight ends that we are going to be looking at are going to be disgusting. It's kind of on us for waiting this long at the position. And I think we can safely look back. And now that we see that people decided to stop drafting quarterbacks in the 15th and 16th rounds, Here, it was a mistake to go with the Baker Mayfield. If we were using that 2020 hindsight, here we should have definitely gone with one of these tight ends. Now, keep in mind, we are in a position where we didn't necessarily know if we were even going to have a quarterback making it back to us in the 17th. And based on how long we waited at the position, we definitely needed to be grabbing 3 of these guys on this roster. So it was more so me saying that I'm not sure when people are drafting Zach Wilson in the 12th, Ryan Fitzpatrick in the 14th, Sam Darnold in the 14th, Jameis in the 13th, Big Ben at the beginning of the 15th. At this point, we weren't necessarily sure if we were going to see more quarterbacks going. I promise you they are going to go off, but I guess now they're going in the 17th compared to where they could have gone in the 15th. So it was a mistake using that hindsight. And y'all know I'm always the first person to admit my mistakes. But here, if I was going back and redoing it, I don't necessarily think we could change anything, to be honest. Like I think we made the right decision based on the information that we currently had. Okay, so Kadarius Toney goes at the 17:01. So at this point, we need wide receivers making them back. We need wide receivers. We need tight ends making them back. Let's pull this back up. So we are exclusively wide receiver tight end from here on out in this draft. King Mead taking it down. They go Anthony Firkser with their selection. Okay, so we're going to be in a spot where Daniel Jones at the 17:03 by cognition. Josh Reynolds. Okay, Reynolds would have been someone we were intrigued in. This is Cleaver Bay. We haven't checked out their team at all. They only have 4 running backs in this team. Okay, so they're going with a hyper fragile build. This must be a team that's just a straight up grinder right here. Blake Jarwin at the 17:05. Now that puts us in a very difficult spot. Now we can't even take tight end. Like if Blake Jarwin was going to make it to us at pick 199, we were going to select Blake Jarwin. Now I'm unsure if we can actually do that. And Lucas says Dalton Schultz listed as the tight end 1 in Dallas. Is that worth taking? Honestly, no. I just don't necessarily think so when the wide receiver is going to be soaking up so much volume. Glory Fade's taking this down to the very last second. Let's see where they're going to end up going. They go Van Jefferson. Am I missing something with the Josh Palmer here falling this far? I think that we did definitely have the pick. Like our pick was 100% going to be Blake Jarwin. Hopefully there wasn't a piece of news that I missed out on earlier today. But if he's going to be the number 3 wide receiver in Los Angeles, I think he does provide us some random spike weeks. He's a rookie, so I guess you could say he's a little more volatile in his range of outcomes. But we're kind of looking for a guy that is having that wide range of outcomes that, yes, could be a straight up bum, but at the same time could provide us with some spike weeks. Because at receiver, we have Adams, McLaurin, Julio Jones, Brandon Cooks, Darnell Mooney, Nelson Aguilar, Amara St. Brown. Now we're bringing in Josh Palmer. We're going to bring in a lot of wide receivers in this range, guys. We're going to bring in a lot of those receivers. Just because we're trying to find guys that are going to spike into our lineup. Not necessarily that much during the playoff stretch. I don't necessarily think that we'll need them if we're going to win. But I think more so just during the season, like during bye weeks, if we have an injury, just someone to keep us afloat. Okay, so Darius Slayton at the 17:10. Okay, so of course it sucks seeing those wide receivers get drafted. And Keith says, just deposited $10 on Underdog using code FLOCK. Thanks, Mason. No, Keith, thank you so much for supporting the channel. Guys, of course, definitely go through and make sure you're depositing $10 on Underdog Fantasy with promo code FLOCK. When you go through and deposit $10 on Underdog Fantasy with promo code FLOCK, you are getting $25 added to your account. You're getting our 2021 Dynasty Fantasy Football Draft Guide or 2021 Fantasy Football Draft Guide. So make sure you're going through and taking advantage of that. I mean, it helps the channel out a ton. So now let's go through and got Olamide Zaccheaus at the 18:03. Okay, so of course it sucks seeing those wide receivers going. Let's pull this back up. J.D. McKissic, just a ridiculous value at this point. Okay, it's weird that we're getting like this little glitch on Underdog where you see the ADP and the projection. So tight end, there are a couple tight ends that are about in the same range for me here. Do we have any more news on T.Y. Hilton? Obviously, it's an undisclosed amount of time that he's going to be out. Based on the wide receivers that are going to be available, I know he's placed on the short-term IR, and we don't know how long T.Y. Hilton is no longer going to be here, but I think we are going to have to go out there and get him. Okay, so let's pull this back up. If you were just now joining the chat, and we only have we only have 2 more rounds here. So we're going to get another $10 draft going after this one. And I will go through and send out that link in the live chat. Let me show y'all this. And I'm probably going to get that set up right now. I mean, when we're in the range of guys like Juwan Johnson, T.Y. Hilton, Adam Humphries, Denzel Mims going off the board. I know 99% of y'all are not playing in those leagues. So let me pull this off. And instead, we will get another draft going. Okay, so let's get another draft going right after this. I'm going to get a $10 draft going for everybody. And this is just for the people who use promo code FLOCK and Underdog Fantasy. We're going to be doing so many fun things here the entire season. So, you know, we're live streaming every single day. Y'all have a ton of chances to get in here with us. But let me set up a $10 draft. And you're just going to see it say $10 draft here. And then it's going to have the little link. Click that link and you should be in ASAP. Okay, let me go grab this. Okay, we grabbed that link and it's getting sent out in the live chat. And keep in mind, guys, this sucker is going to fill ASAP. This thing is, Scissors comes out, says, we don't know much about Eckler, right? No, sir. I don't necessarily want to come out here and speculate that much. I think that as of now, we're just going to sit here. We're going to have to wait 2 days. It sucks to say. Speculating doesn't necessarily go through and do much with us. And also, Scissors, let me know, my man, if you want in. Not this draft, because I'm assuming it's going to be a little too late. I'm sending that out right now. But the next draft, let me know if you want in it, my dude. Okay, we just sent that out. Okay, so y'all are going to see that this fills in literally 0.1 seconds, guys. It's going to fill right away. So you have to make sure you sign up for Underdog Fantasy before I send that link out, because you're not going to be able to go through and sign up for your account beforehand. Okay, so now okay, we're actually on the clock in the $250 draft, so I have to go over there and pull that up real quick. We're going to draft Tyler Conklin there as our tight end 2. Okay, so in this draft, we get the 102. Okay, so this is going to be a very exciting draft. Scissors actually got into this draft with us. Hell yeah. So he's going to be drafting with us at the 103. So Scissors got in this draft through the live chat. We didn't send him that DM or anything. So guys, this is completely fair. I mean, y'all have that chance to get in just like everybody else. Okay, so here we got Shad drafted next to us. We have seen him in a couple of these drafts as of late. M. Holmes has been out in a lot of these. Henry Shavy, this is a new name. Blackfire, they were out in one recently, fully loaded. Hasn't been out in a while, I feel like, but definitely a regular of the channel. Then Ginor, this is a new name. Mr. Morello, I think that's someone who's been out once or twice. Grocha, this is a new name. G-Tambo, this is someone who's been out once or twice. And Radius is a regular at this point. So yeah, I'm excited to get this draft going, guys. It's going to be a fun draft. Scissors says he'll be sniping our picks. Scissors, I'm expecting you to go Mahomes in the 3rd, my man. I'm expecting to see you go Mahomes in the 3rd. Okay, so now we are at the 102. Now, I'm assuming we're going to go Dalvin Cook here. Yeah. Why am I saying I'm assuming? I'm just going through and spitting out some phrases right now because I can't think of anything else to say. So go Dalvin at the 102. Let's see what Scissors is going to do. I'm imagining Alvin Kamara. I mean, you can't necessarily go through and... Oh, yeah. Cue the plug says 0001 ping. Yeah, of course Scissors gets in the draft. We all probably know Scissors has that elite level ping. That's pretty funny. I don't even know why I was sending him those DMs. Of course, I mean, he has... Yeah, Foster says that's not fair. Scissors got that fiber streamer Wi-Fi. I didn't even think about that, guys. That is pretty funny. Okay, so taking it all the way down, going with, I'm assuming, just Alvin Kamara. Okay, so the 104. Keep in mind, guys, this is a real money draft. We'll try to get another draft going after this one, my dudes. And we're also going to be streaming during the day tomorrow. So I know this is our last night doing these streams where we're going through and getting the full 2021 drafts in. But we're going to be doing weekly drafts. So Underdog Fantasy also does it where we can do a draft just for week 1. We can do a draft just for week 2 and so on. So make sure you definitely go through, sign up, because we're going to be doing so many fun things throughout the entire season. And Nash coming out says, Scissors got that big time streamer Wi-Fi. I completely forgot. Like, I don't even know why that didn't even cross my mind. Okay, crap. We are on the clock in the other league. We just made a panic pick at the very end. We just made a panic pick. Oh, that was scary in the $250 draft. I should have been paying more attention to that. We should have gone. Yeah, we had to get a wide receiver there anyway. Okay, so let's close that out so we don't have to worry about the $250 league anymore. That's going to be done. And we are 30 subscribers away from 35,000, guys. Thank you, everybody going down there, subscribing to the channel, dropping the likes. It helps us out a ton. Okay, so now we have Aaron Jones at the 110. So nothing seems too strange in this draft so far. Seems like a very regular draft. And if you don't necessarily think this is a regular draft, I mean, you have not been coming out here enough to these live streams. Okay, so Jonathan Taylor at the 201. This is a start that we've had a lot. We've had this start a lot, to be honest. I mean, I just think that, like, if there was anything that I could go back and tell myself, just say at the beginning of this entire process, before we drafted 200 teams, I would tell myself, Mason, don't draft Travis Etienne. Mason, don't draft Cam Akers. Of course, that would be the first thing that we were saying. But beyond that, what else are we saying here? Beyond that, what we're probably saying is, whenever Jonathan Taylor falls to the middle of the second round because of the Carson Wentz injury, as well as the injury to Quentin Nelson, draft as much Carson Wentz as you can possibly do. And Austin Eckler going to the 204 here. Very interesting with an Austin Eckler. Very interesting. Let me look up the official report that we have on an Eckler. I mean, obviously people are scared because this is the first time that we're dealing with something like this season, besides what we actually ended up happening with Chris Godwin. Sounds like Chris Godwin probably going to be good to go this week after everybody just wanted to lose their minds when I said Chris Godwin was the wide receiver 6. I still stand behind the fact that Chris Godwin is the wide receiver 6, guys. I mean, people were losing their minds because he was limited on a practice on Tuesday. You know how many players are going to be limited on practices all Tuesday long? So don't be that worried about it when this stuff pops up. I mean, you're just going to get You're just going to get used to it by the time we're halfway through the year. But right now, everybody's just freaking out. Antonio Gibson at the 208. This is further than when you usually see Antonio Gibson fall. Okay, Darren Waller at the 209. Let's see where Scissors goes. Scissors is on the clock at the moment. He goes A.J. Brown. Okay, so we're taking our guy here. We're taking Joe Mixon, especially because this isn't one of those tournaments. But so I was planning on going receiver tight end or receiver here. Now I think when we go Joe Mixon at the 211, we are going to be in a spot where we have to grab a wide receiver in the third. We're not going to have the luxury of taking a George Kittle because we'll put ourselves in such a bad spot at tight end. At wide receiver. Obviously, we'll put ourselves in a great spot at tight end. So yeah, let's go with a CeeDee Lamb here. So wasn't planning on going Joe Mixon. Usually the advantage that you get from having these elite level running backs is you can just go receiver, tight end. I mean, I think that's usually the play. I mean, Scissors starting off a draft exactly how we started our $250 draft last night. I think we started that one off Alvin Kamara, A.J. Brown, George Kittle, and we actually had Mahomes falling to us at the 410 in that draft, and it was a tough one to deal with. It was definitely tough to deal with. Okay, so now Terry McLaurin at the 305. Cue the plug says, Yo Mason, are you starting DJ Moore or Miles Sanders this week? That's a close question. I'm going to plead the fifth on that one, to be honest. I'm going to plead the fifth, my man. Maybe if you catch me, I'll also say, guys, for anybody who is not hitting the bell next to the subscribe button, make sure you hit the bell next to the subscribe button. That way you know when we go live, because I actually premiere all the videos. I don't just go through and upload them. So whenever we premiere them, I actually stick around and talk in the live chat and stuff. And I'm not gonna be able to answer every single question in the live chat because the live chat flies like this. But at the end of every premiere, once we're done watching the video together, I mean, every comment that is left at that point that's asking me a start sit question, that's asking me a trade question or a waiver wire question or anything, I'm going through and answering. Now, we're going to do that for week 1. Maybe in week 2, it gets to a point where it's a little bit too much if the channel keeps growing like this. But for now, make sure you hit that bell because you're getting all your questions answered by me in the comment section if you come out to a video early enough. Ethan says, dang, Scissors for real, sweating, man is locked in, not even chatting. That's pretty funny, my man. Okay, so now let's go through Robert Woods at the 310. Great value on Robert Woods at the 310. This used to be a player that you could consistently get at the end of the third, the beginning of the fourth. Now you're seeing Robert Woods in a lot of drafts get moved up to the middle of the third round. I think this is good value on Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp at the 311. Let me grab some water real quick. Oh my God, guys. I'm pretty sure that was scary. I thought I was about to chip a tooth. Did y'all hear how hard my water bottle hit my tooth right there? Oh my God. Y'all are about to see me looking like Lloyd Christmas for the rest of the live stream right now. That was embarrassing. Okay. So we got Chris Carson at the 402. At this point, we want to see these running backs going off the board. I mean, next call, let's get DeAndre Swift off. After that, let's get some Miles Sanders going. Just because, I mean, at this point, whenever we go Joe Mixon and Dalvin Cook to start this draft, we're probably not drafting another running back for a very long time. Okay, so Robinson goes to the 405. Definitely like seeing that. And we had Justin Jefferson sneak his way up to the 205 in this draft. Really early for Justin Jefferson. Andrew coming out with the donation says, start one, Javonte Williams, James White, Trey Sermon, or A.J. Dillon. That is a tough and a disgusting question, my man. I will say, oh my gosh. Okay, so James White going up against Miami. I don't think it's going to be that high scoring of a game. You have Green Bay going up against New Orleans. I think that's probably going to be a tough matchup for A.J. Dillon as well. I'm going to go Trey Sermon. I think Sermon's not a player you want to be starting in many leagues right now, but like between Trey Sermon and Javonte Williams, we are expecting the 49ers to just boat race the Lions. So if that happens, maybe they do get him in the game and maybe he can see some work. DeAndre Swift at the 409. Okay, that's perfect for us. And scissors on the clock goes Deontay Johnson. Okay, so we're going to take Jerry Jeudy here. It's going to be a very easy pick. I mean, going Jerry Jeudy as our wide receiver 2. So we're going to be kind of bringing on a little bit of a Minnesota Vikings stack here with Dalvin Cook and Adam Thielen. Okay, so now after this, let's see where Shat decides to go. Jerry Jeudy right here. Oh, this is going to be tough. This is going to be tough, guys. Like if we would have passed on Joe Mixon in the second and grabbed a wide receiver there instead, what we could have potentially done is we could have grabbed Adam Thielen and Lamar Jackson at this turn to make our 4-5 selections pretty easy. Now, at this point, it's going to be really hard to determine where we need to go in the 5th round here. Do we reach on a Mark Andrews? I think we reach on Mark Andrews. No, let's take a receiver. Let's take a receiver. The receivers are gross in this range, but I just think that when we pass on that option in the second, we're going to be hating our team by the time we get to the 10th if we don't. So I really try to convince myself to go with Mark Andrews. Yeah, scissors goes Gus Edwards. That's a completely fine selection whenever you just took Alvin Kamara in the first. The problem is we can't go running back there when we go Dalvin Mixon. You have to start 3 wide receivers in this league, and wide receivers going to get soaked up very early. Okay, because that was going to be... That was a tough spot to be in. That was a very tough spot to be in. Miles Sanders at the 504. Jamar Chase at the 505. I'll say Chase is not someone I'm that intrigued with in this format, considering with the Jamar Chase, this is a player that's going to be more so productive in your drafting him for the fantasy football playoffs. And we have to remember, since this is a private $10 draft, you don't have the playoffs here. Instead, you actually just have who could score the most points throughout the entire season. So yeah, I think Jamar Chase, probably not the best option. I probably would have rather gone with a different receiver, or even someone like a I would probably have rather gone with Mark Andrews over Jamar Chase in this league. Get Kyle Pitts at the 508. So Guinnor starts Hill, Jefferson, Mahomes, Robinson, Kyle Pitts. I mean, I'm not a massive fan of Kyle Pitts, but Kyle Pitts does have an ADP where he usually goes in the 4th round. So, I mean, it's going to be too hard. It's going to be pretty hard for me to go through and make fun of that pick too much. Okay. Mr. Manello starts Diggs, Eckler, Montgomery, Josh Allen. And I'm assuming we're going to see a receiver unless they really mix it up. They go Darrell Henderson at the 509. Okay, so there are some teams that I definitely want to be making sure that we're tracking. I want to be tracking this team right here, number 1, and also Radius and Gorcha, because these are the teams that are more so creating these unique builds. Like everybody beforehand's pretty balanced right now. Okay, so Laviska Shenault at the 510. See where Radius decides to go. So said, how to walk the dog and draft on the go. I will say it's like the most annoying thing ever whenever I like in the middle of on my desk, like working. And if y'all don't know, whenever I make those podcasts all day on Patreon, I am literally 100% of the time in an underdog draft. I'm just always doing like the $5 puppy drafts. I can't even tell you how many DMs I've gotten on Twitter saying, are you in the $5 puppy draft right now? And then I see it like three hours later. I'm like, yeah, I was probably in that one. But it is like the most annoying thing ever when I'm having to go like and try to do something and don't have no idea where my phone is. And then I'm just kind of locked to my desk. And then I'm having to run back and forth to my desk and make our selections while I'm running around the apartment, trying to find my phone before I leave. That way we can continue to go through the draft. In reality, I should just probably set a queue because it's a $5 draft. But I mean, my pride gets to me. And also a bad thing is, obviously 99% of people, whenever I'm in a draft, like a public room that's like just a random $5 draft on Underdog Fantasy during the day, 99% of the time, someone's not going to know who I am. But the 1% of the time, like it's a viewer of the channel. And if I just somehow auto pick the rest of my picks and my team looks disgusting at the end, it's pretty embarrassing. It's pretty embarrassing. And of course, it's hard to use the excuse, oh, I was on auto draft, because not many people are going to believe that. Okay, so now let's go through and let's pull this up. Oh my gosh. Don't make us do it. Okay, so M. Holmes on the clock. They went Swift, Sanders, Adams, A-Rob, Darren Waller. This is a great team right here. This is a great team with M. Holmes. I'm interested to see where they go. They go Juju Smith-Schuster, so they don't really care about the running back value. Let's see where Scissors goes. He has Alvin, Edwards, A.J. Brown, Deontay Johnson, George Kittle. Okay, let's see where he goes. And at this point, like, do we have to take Mike Davis if he falls? I think, yeah, he goes Deebo Samuel. Y'all know Mike Davis is someone that I am very, very rarely drafting. I think we maybe have had Mike Davis in like 1.2% of our leagues so far. I can look up the exact number. But based on him falling to the 6'11", I know we already have two running backs. I wasn't planning on grabbing another running back here. Yeah, we're going to have to go through. We're going to have to grab Mike Davis. It's not an exciting selection, but at the 6'11", when I'm playing in like 250 leagues, we're going to try to get that 250 mark tomorrow when we're live streaming a ton of these drafts. I think Mike Davis is going to be the call there at the 6'11". Let's see what makes it back to us in the 7th round here. Okay, so Shat takes Tyler Boyd. If we go with no, we can't go with another running back. I was thinking if we go with another running back, we could be done drafting running backs, but I would rather just wait. I would rather wait and grab 2 at the very end and draft 5. So yeah, he goes Kareem Hunt. That is good for us because I like Kareem Hunt, but we can't be drafting another running back here. We have to grab a receiver. And between Devonta Smith and Corey Davis, we're just going to go Corey Davis, considering that we don't have the playoffs. We're just seeing who can score the most points throughout the season. So let's grab the veteran that we know is going to be productive right away. And yeah, okay, that's going to be an interesting turn of events. I don't think I've ever built a team on Underdog like this. I'm unsure if I've ever built a team like this. Scissors grabs his 3rd running back in Damian Harris. We actually took Damian Harris in the middle of the 7th round in our last $250 draft. Or maybe in the middle of the 8th. Did I take Harris in the middle of the 6th? I mean, in the 7th or 8th in that last draft. Because I think we went... I am unsure. I can't remember exactly how that went. And also, guys, if you are unfamiliar what's going on right now, we are drafting on Underdog Fantasy. This is somewhere we've been drafting every single day for like the past 5 weeks. And we're going to be doing so many fun things here throughout the entire season as well. And right now there's a current glitch on Underdog Fantasy. It's one of the wildest things that I've ever seen. I have no idea how they have not gotten this fixed. And I know 99% of the people in the live chat right now have taken advantage of this, but I need to make sure y'all do it before it's patched. Whenever you deposit $10 on Underdog Fantasy with promo code FLOCK, you get $25 added to your account. You get our 2021 rankings, our 2021 draft guide, our 2021 Dynasty Rookie Draft Guide, hundreds of pages of information. That's like $100 value if you include the $25 voucher that you're getting with it for a $10 deposit. And that $10 deposit, it's not like they're taking your $10. You're going and just playing $10 worth of fantasy drafts in it. And you're getting $25. So it's the best place to get in some extra drafts. And you don't submit your starting lineup throughout the year. That's automatically done for you at the end of the week based on your highest scorers. There's no waiver wire, so there's no time commitment during the season. I 100% want y'all to be taking advantage of that. Jordan says, Ramondre Stevenson dislocated a finger right. Any timetable on him? I'm pretty sure he's already good. Yeah, he's like, right now he's questionable for week 1. Like, He's not someone that we have to be worried about missing a significant amount of time. Don't worry about him at all. Okay, so now we have Marquez Callaway, Kenny Golladay, Devonta Smith, Michael Pittman. I don't even know what we're rooting for at this point. We don't have a quarterback. We don't have a tight end. But there are really no options that I would even care for us to see at the 8-9 turn. I mean, if we're talking about potential quarterbacks that we could have had, I mean, potentially we could have taken a Dak Prescott if he fell to us at the 6-11 to stack with the CD Lamb. We could have decided to take... Really, that's about it at this point. I mean, who the hell else are we going to take? I mean, I'm not taking someone like Kirk Cousins, Ben Roethlisberger, Zach Wilson in the 8th, 9th round to stack with any of those options. So yeah, I think we are kind of fine with where we're at. Alex coming out with a donation. Thank you so much. Says, do you agree in holding Tyrell Williams on your bench over Gage in a 12-man redraft league, considering Williams is a wide receiver 1 in Detroit and garbage time? I understand the thought process behind it, but no, you do need to prefer Russell Gage. I mean, with the Tyrell Williams, we need to understand that not every bad NFL franchise that's going to see garbage time, they're not the 2015, 2016 Jacksonville Jaguars. They're not Blake Bortles and Allen Robinson. And I mean, even Allen Hurns just soaking up everything there. Sometimes offenses are just going to be so bad and teams are going to be so bad that there are not going to be enough points scored in them for them to be relevant. So Tyrell Williams, if you're playing in a shallow redraft format, not worth a roster spot, in my opinion. Like here, he's going to be very valuable when we don't have the waiver wire and instead we're having to find a bunch of depth at wide receiver later on. But in that format in particular, I'm not going to be too excited about him. Okay. So M. Holmes on the clock. They go Jalen Waddle, and then Scissors is up here. It has Alvin, Edwards, Harris, A.J. Brown, Deontay Johnson, Deebo Samuel. They go Aaron Rodgers. So they don't have a stack here, but I mean, Aaron Rodgers is 13 picks behind his ADP. So of course, can't blame anybody for taking that route. And out of these players, we're just going to take... Who do we have at receiver? We have Lamb, Thielen, Claypool, Corey Davis. The question is, do we take Darnell Mooney or Jarvis Landry? Let's take Darnell Mooney, and I'm an idiot in that we probably just gave away our next pick to Shat, so hopefully he ignores that. We'll see. I mean, maybe we get Tyler Higbee instead. Okay, Tyler Higbee goes to the 8-12, so maybe we're not getting either guy. And Jacoby Myers goes. Okay, so we are going to get Jarvis Landry as another wide receiver here. I mean, I think this team's shaping up nicely. I really like what we have done. So we're showing off this roster so far. That's exactly what we had to do at running back whenever we start Dalvin, Joe Mixon. We have to make sure we're slamming these wide receivers here. So I promise you, wide receiver in a format like this is going to soak up really quickly. So just wait around and you'll see exactly why we had to go that direction. Anthony says, you're on the clock in the Flock 21. Okay, so we are in the middle of a Dynasty Flock Patreon League. So let me pull that up real quick, make our selection over there. We're not going to show that on the live stream. Just want to make sure that we're moving that draft along because obviously the season is right on us. So we are on the clock. How long have we been on the clock here? Okay, we've been on the clock just when we were live streaming. It's nothing to feel bad about for that. Now let's scroll down. Sorry, guys, just 1 second. I have to figure this out over there on that Dynasty, in the Dynasty draft. It's also tight end premium, which is one thing that matters. Let's just take Van Jefferson. It's gross, but it is what it is. Now after this, we have Rondale Moore. And at this part of the draft, we're kind of hoping these wide receivers begin to go because we do have 6 wide receivers so far through 9 rounds. We have 3 running backs in Dalvin Cook, Joe Mixon, and Mike Davis. So yeah, we're hoping these wide receivers begin to go off the draft board. Let me go down and see if we have any other questions in the live chat. Lank Dog says, is Scissors up here? Yeah, Scissors is actually drafting right next to us at the 103 right now. Let's go through. Foster says, let's get a Scissors draft review. I think we have to be a little nicer to Scissors on this one than we were on the first draft because This draft looks a lot more balanced, where you do see at running back Alvin Kamara, Gus Edwards, Damian Harris. So you have that guaranteed workload. And at the same time, you're not going overboard at running back, so you can continue to bring in wide receiver value. As the elite tight end, Aaron Rodgers, that he got a value at pick 94. He has the elite tight end, George Kittle, that he got a value at 303. Then A.J. Brown, Deontay Johnson, Debo, Marvin Jones. So it looks like a very standard draft. Like if I'm trying to go through and nitpick any exact selections that I personally won't like in terms of player versus player, I mean, before we ended up having the Sony Michel trade, I would have preferred Chase Edmonds over Damian Harris. Now that's a lot harder to say. I do prefer Miles Sanders over Gus Edwards. That's like literally throughout this entire draft. I don't know if I change a single thing if I'm scissors throughout. I probably take, I 100% take Kamara here. I take A.J. Brown here. I take George Kittle here. I take Deontay Johnson here. I probably take Miles Sanders. Then here, I mean, Tyler Boyd's the same as Deebo Samuel. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, I think that's a fantastic draft. I think it's a really good draft. Okay, so now Jazzy Fresh coming out with a donation. Thank you. And says, here, let me hide music. And I need to add another moderator to this channel. We're going to add Party Till She's Hot as a moderator real quick. But Jazzy Fresh says, my man, do you trust Allen Robinson week 1 against a Jalen Ramsey, or would you consider starting a lower receiver like Corey Davis in a half PPR league? I do have Allen Robinson significantly lower in our rankings this week than he'll be in most weeks. However, you still have to start Allen Robinson, as he is just a clear tier ahead of what you actually have there with the other player. And Tanner says, yo, Mason, I have a Lamar in a 12-team PPR shallow league. Should I trade away Lance and Gaskin for DeAndre Swift, or hold on to Lance and let his value grow? If you would have asked me this question before the injury to Lance's finger, I would say that just go through and wait, and then you can try to get some more value afterwards. But now the problem is, if you're playing in a shallow redraft format, there is an opportunity cost for you to actually hold on to Trey Lance with that roster spot, where maybe in week 1, week 2, it's going to be difficult for you to pick up an intriguing waiver wire option that you would like to see. So I actually would just go through and make that trade, as much as it pains me to say, because y'all know how much we love Trey Lance. And I'm adding Party Till She's Hot as a moderator. And to be honest, guys, seriously, I know there are 600 people in this live chat, but how dumb would someone have to be to see someone in the see someone spamming in the live chat, like webcamchat.com, hot girls and boys video chat, whatever they were spamming? How dumb would they have to be to go like, oh, hot girls and boys video chat? That's what I've been looking for. And they click on it. Like, do those bots actually get people? Like, I guess they do, because they continue to do them. Okay, so Terrace Marshall at the 10:08. Jalen, okay, now we take 6 receivers. We can't draft a running back here. I'm going to draft a running back here probably unapologetically. Yeah, Devontae Parker goes to the 10-10 by scissors. Now at this point, there aren't that many wide receivers left available that are too intriguing. We don't have a quarterback here that we can stack. So let's just take a running back. We're going to get our guy, Zach Moss. I know that a lot of people probably want to see Michael Carter. No, we're going to get Zach Moss at the 10-11. And we're only going to be drafting 5 running backs on this team. I probably take another running back here, and then we're done at the position. And Barry says, I'm Ginor. How's the team looking? LOL. Okay, my man, I'm happy to look at that team for you. Just 1 second. Let me get this next pick underway. You know what? We may not actually end up going with another run. Never mind. Mike Gesicki off. We could still go with the tight end, but the problem is when we wait this long on tight end, I think we have to draft 3 guys anyway. We can't take another running back. We don't have a stack, but Joe Burrow is going to be the last guy in this tier available at quarterback for us. So this is fantastic running back value at the moment. We sadly cannot take advantage of it. So instead, we're just going to grab Joe Burrow as our quarterback 1. And let's go through and let's check out this team for Ginor right here. He goes Hill, Jefferson, Mahomes. I will say, I understand the thought process in wanting Mahomes at the 308 whenever you have Tyreek Hill and you can bring in that stack. But, we got some more bots out in this chat. Dear Lord. Okay. But I think that it's probably just too high of a price to pay when you're passing up on guys like Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Julio Jones. At running back, you're passing up on a David Montgomery. So I understand the thought process, but looking at the quarterbacks that you could get later on in the chat, I think that we would actually just go through and probably prefer to draft a receiver here. I know you started with 2 of them. Robinson in the 4th. This is great value when you don't have a running back so far. Kyle Pitts in the 5th. I'm not a massive fan of Kyle Pitts, but it's great value, so I can't argue with it. Good value on AB. Good value on Devonta Smith. McCole Hardman to get the double stack in here with Mahomes. I love that McCole Hardman selection. That makes so much sense. Ronald Jones, your running back 2, is someone that's going to have a guaranteed role in his offense. Russell Gage, I really like that team. Personally, I wanted to take Mahomes there, but besides the Mahomes pick, I really do like that team. Milo says, yo, Flock, make this chat sub only. Is that why that's been happening? Yeah, oh my gosh. This chat was not subscriber only. That is a mistake on my part. Let's make this chat subscriber only, and I'll also put it like on the slower thing where you can only send one message every 10 seconds or so. Yeah, we'll do one message every 10 seconds because I think you should be able to slow yourself down to at least that rate. Now, after this, we have Tony Pollard, James Conner, Michael Carter, Kenyon Drake, Jamal Williams, Naheem Hines. So the running back run is occurring in the 11th round. So I am happy to get the guy at the very top, at least the player I perceive to be at the very top in Zach Moss. And then we're hoping that these guys continue to go off the board because we're probably only going to be drafting one more running back that's going to be at the very end of the draft. So we kind of want the receivers to come. And Tim says, what's up, Mason? Who should I be starting, Adam Thielen or Allen Robinson? Here, man, I definitely would say that Adam Thielen this week's probably a more intriguing option. I mean, just with an Allen Robinson, it's going to be so difficult to see him going up against Jalen Ramsey and in a game where the Bears are supposed to score so few points to just be a massive producer. So I'd probably go with Adam Thielen there, especially with Irv Smith Jr. injury. I think he's going to see a lot of targets. And Jundries says Allen Robinson or Brandon Ayuk this week. You want to go with Allen Robinson there. That's about a cutoff. I mean, Brandon Ayuk coming back from the hamstring injury, yes, is going to be good to go this week. However, I think that we'd rather see it before we believe it. So yeah, I would prefer to go with Allen Robinson. Let's pull up what we're going to be looking at again. Nelson Aguilar at the 1208. So we need a tight end, but I mean, Rob Gronkowski, what is he doing for me at the 12-13 turn? Am I wrong in saying that like Gronk is like, there are other tight ends way down further that I would rather have over Gronk. Like, yeah, we're going to pass. We're just going to grab a receiver here. So with the Marquez Valdes-Scantling, never someone you're drafting in a regular draft, but in a best ball league, you could see some random spike weeks. So let's bring in MVS. And then from Shat, and also another quarterback that we have to be on the radar for is at the 14-15 turn. If we have Kirk Cousins falling to us, we definitely want Kirk Cousins. So we can bring in the stack with Dalvin and Adam Thielen. Jalen Reagor goes to the 12-12. Yeah, so let's see where Shat's taking this. And we have 7 receivers at this point, so we don't need to be reaching on a Sterling Shepard here. Instead, we're going to reach on a tight end, and we're either going to be bringing in either Cole Kmet or Hunter Henry. So yeah, now let's actually bring in Cole Kmet with this pick. I mean, I know Gronk is significantly ahead of him in ADP, but I don't understand it personally. I'm going to prefer Cole Kmet over Rob Gronkowski, and it's not going to be that hard for me to make that decision either. So let me go through, show off this draft board. If you are just now coming into the live stream, make sure you go down there, drop a like on the live stream, subscribe to the channel. We are doing live streams every single day. I'm going to be doing live streams where I'm answering fantasy football questions. We're going to be going through and, of course, making videos every day as well. Okay, so scissors out of this turn did go Emmanuel Sanders and Sterling Shepard, continuing to hammer in wide receiver. Okay, so yeah, he had the elite tight end in George Kittle, so that makes sense. James White at 1304. Okay, that helps us out. Caden says, what's the next buy-in? If we do another draft, it's going to be a $10 buy-in. If we do another draft, it'll be a $10 buy-in, my dudes. Okay, and you know I have to say this. I know a million people have heard it, but guys, we're drafting on Underdog Fantasy. This is by far and away the best place that you can really do all things fantasy football this upcoming season. You can get in a draft tomorrow, and then you don't submit your starting lineup throughout the year. That's automatically done for you at the end of every week based on your highest scoring players. There's no waiver wire either, so it's no time commitment during the season, so you can pay attention to the leagues that you actually care about. And when you make a $10 deposit on Underdog Fantasy, you can get in a draft with us. We're going to be streaming all day tomorrow with a ton of drafts. And also, when you make that $10 deposit on Underdog Fantasy, you get $25 added to your account. You get our 2021 rankings, our 2021 draft guide, our 2021 tiers. I mean, you get our 2021 Dynasty Rookie Draft Guide. It's like $100 value for a $10 deposit. And you help out the channel tremendously. So please make sure you take advantage of that. Hunter Henry at the 1308. Okay, so Dan says Stafford or Dak. Oh, that's a tough question. I mean, right now, for whatever reason, like if you look at Vegas implied team totals, Vegas is thinking that Dallas is not going to put up many points at all against Tampa. And I'm surprised to see that. I know what Vegas is saying. I'm going to go against it. I'm probably just going to say Dak. And it's never a good idea to bet against Vegas, but I think we want to go Dak Prescott there. Okay, Matt Ryan at the 13-12. And we do need a second quarterback, but we weren't looking at Matt Ryan. And we are also 20 subscribers away from 35,000. Let me give some shout outs to everybody subscribing to the channel. We have Michael, Manuel, Mr. Nutcracker, Dejuan, Fats, Matt, the Ripper Rob, Daniel, Meat Spin, Daniel, Big Michael, Danny, Brendan, Eric, Mark, James, and yeah, we're Dylan. We're done. We're done giving out those shout outs. Thank you for everybody subscribing to the channel. Percy White coming out with a donation. Thank you. Says trade Darrell Henderson and Ryan Tannehill for Dak Prescott. Honestly, no. I'm not going to go up and pay for the elite level quarterback like that. I mean, if you were getting someone in the Lamar Jackson tier, sure. But no, just take the running back. Party Till Shot says, wow, Vegas hating on the boys. Yeah, I mean, if I pull up the implied team totals right now, this is something I look at a lot. Like whenever I set my rankings and whenever I'm going through and doing the entire process of pumping out everything for a single week, I'll go through and I'll do it based on off the top of my head with my analysis into the situation. And then of course I always have to go and look at Vegas as well, because Vegas knows more than me. So you'll see a lot of adjustments. I mean, if you were looking at my initial rankings versus based off also looking at what Las Vegas is telling us. And right now, the Dallas Cowboys with their implied team total are 24th this week. They're supposed to score less points than Denver, Cincinnati, Philadelphia, New Orleans, the Chargers, the Patriots, the Raiders, the Colts, the Jags. They are 8-point dogs against the Bucs. And that was updated as of this morning. Like, let me look up and see if I can find something else here. Because maybe that's different on another sports book. Yeah, it's 7.5. The spread is 7.5 on that game. They are giving the Dallas Cowboys no respect whatsoever. Now we're going to go Evan Ingram with this pick here. Actually, he didn't practice today. Oh, no, we're not going to go Evan Ingram. Instead, we're going to go Austin Hooper. We're probably going to be drafting 3 tight ends on this team. So let's grab Hooper here, and we do not get our guy, Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins does go at the 1405. So definitely not that excited to see that. And now we're probably going to draft 3 quarterbacks. So the question is, do we get our last wide receiver here? No, you know what? We probably need to grab another QB. I'm just trying to think, because we are going to want to draft 3 tight ends. We need 8 wide receivers. We need 5 running backs. So we're only going to be able to draft 2 quarterbacks. So let's get Fitzpatrick. And if we get Fitzpatrick, we can see the random spike weeks. And I think we'll be fine only drafting 2 of them. It definitely does put us in a difficult spot. Zach Wilson would have given us the stack with a Corey Davis, but it would just put us in a very difficult spot. Let's also see what Scissors did at that turn as well. I wasn't paying attention to what Scissors was having on. And here he goes, Jameis at the 14-10. Okay, so usually Jameis is going before these guys in ADP, which I'm kind of surprised with, to be completely honest. And then he gets Sammy Watkins at the 15-03 at the same time. Okay, Sammy Watkins, obviously you're just kind of looking for a spike week with that. And AK Cash coming out with a donation. Thank you. And saying, actually, we have a couple. Do we have any more donations I'm missing? Oh, yeah, no. JN says, have you done any of the Battle Royale drafts on Underdog? No, but we are going to get some going on the live stream. We'll get some going on the live stream sometime soon. And then I've just been trying to get in as many of these full-time season drafts as possible. Like the Battle Royale drafts, we're going to do those, but I definitely want to make sure that I take advantage, because we only have 2 more days of these. We only have 2 more days of these. So every second, every dollar that I have, we're trying to get into these drafts. And Nate comes out and says, a full PPR league, should I trade Henderson and Javonte Williams for Chris Carson? Williams is on the bench right now, and Henderson is my running back too. Personally, no, I would not. I think you keep the package. While, yes, it's going to suck at the beginning part of the season whenever Chris Carson is outscoring Darrell Henderson. I mean, Javonte Williams eventually is going to take over as that 3-down running back in Denver, and then you'll have more value that way and also for the fantasy football playoffs. And Akash sent a donation out, says, Mason, I got Kelsey, A-Rob, Shenault, and San Francisco for Jonathan Taylor, Cole Beasley, and Carolina. I like it. My man, I'll say, obviously, San Francisco's a better defense than Carolina, but that's such a small part of the deal. I just want to throw them out the window. So you essentially traded away Jonathan Taylor, Cole Beasley for Travis. Oh, my God. Travis Kelce, Allen Robinson, Laviska Shenault. Yes, you smashed that trade. That was a fantastic trade. I mean, I am sure that your league mates were upset when they saw that go down. Matthew says he's at the 112. What are our thoughts? Let's go through and let's check out Matthew's team at the 112 here. Okay, so he went at wide receiver. You went early and often. Ridley, Evans, Godwin, Odell, Gallup, Fuller. At running back, Jonathan Taylor. At quarterback, Kyler Murray. He also gets Sony Michel at RB. Then he slams some more running backs here with Fournette, Stevenson, J.D. McKissick. Yeah, I like that team so far. I like that team. Bateman is a player that, like I said, a little harder to draft in this league when we don't have the playoffs and it's just the most points throughout the end of the year. And Scissors says, hopefully Jameis is dumping off all the TDs to Kamara. Oh, I didn't even notice that you had Alvin Kamara and Jameis on that same team. I do like that, to be honest. Just because if you're looking at running backs that make sense, stacking with their quarterbacks, like a Derrick Henry doesn't make that much sense because you're kind of getting some negative correlation in there. But players like Austin Eckler, players like Alvin Kamara, players like Saquon Barkley. I mean, I think those guys that are going to see a significant amount of targets, obviously Christian McCaffrey and Sam Darnold, they could make a lot of sense to stack with their options because nobody's going to be surprised if you actually do have Jameis Winston making it where Alvin Kamara gets the second most targets on this team this upcoming year. I mean, considering Michael Thomas is missing the beginning part of the season, Kamara's going to get the most targets on his team. Okay, so now Big Ben goes at the 1606. Should we have just taken a third tight end? Is that what we should have done? Like, what tight ends would we be looking at now? No, this quarterback range, I don't think we could have just gotten away with drafting two. So in this draft, we're going to need one more running back, one more receiver, and one more tight end. So we're done looking QB. This was not a solid draft. I do not like our draft here, guys. So here with our draft, we have Burrow, Fitz at quarterback, Dalvin, Mixon, Davis, Moss at running back, at receiver, Lamb, Thielen, Claypool, Corey Davis, Darnell Mooney, Jarvis Landry, MVS. Okay, so what are we doing now? I think I'm drafting Nico Collins in way too many of these leagues, but we're going to grab Nico Collins. Again, Legit Savage coming out with a donation. Thank you, my man. Says, I feel like you're higher than consensus. A new Patreon supporter, second season with you. How do I submit my roster for a review on Patreon? My man, thank you so much. Excited to have you back out to these live streams. I've not seen you out in a long time. And yeah, if you sign up for Patreon and you want that team roster breakdown as a motherflocker, please just shoot me that DM and I'll send you the information on how to send me a screenshot ASAP. And usually you get those podcasts out the same day you send me that DM. Milo says, Mason, do you know who Scissors is? Is he a regular here? I would consider Scissors a regular at this point. Yes, Scissors is a regular at this point. And of course I know who Scissors is, my man. The question is, do you know who I am? That's the question is. We're about to pass 35,000 subscribers. Who cares that Scissors has 4.5 million? Okay, so now we're going to be back on the clock and let's just take Adam Trout. Yeah, let's take Troutman at tight end. It's a gross pick. You know what we should have done? We should have gone with a running back with that selection. 2 picks ago, whenever we took, like going down here, whenever we ended up taking Nico Collins, we should have gone running back, and then we could have ended up just getting Hunter Renfrow. I don't know. I feel like these last 3 picks are going to be a pretty tough one. Okay, so I'm going to get another draft going after this just because y'all have already hit 400 likes in the live stream. So I'm going to be done showing off this board. Y'all can rewind and y'all can pause it, but I need to get another one going ASAP if we're going to get another draft. So let me pull this over. It's going to be a $10 draft. I'm going to send it out in the live chat for everybody who used promo code FLOCK and signed up for Underdog Fantasy. We're going to be doing so many fun things throughout the entire season on the live stream. So please make sure y'all use that promo code on Underdog Fantasy and help us out. And now let's go through, pull this up. It's going to be a $10 private draft. So don't join the draft in the lobby because if you join the draft in the lobby, we're not going to be there. So let's go and grab this. Okay, perfect. And if you have not signed up for Underdog Fantasy yet, this is where we live stream every single night. We're going to be doing a ton of stuff during the season as well. And there's a current glitch on Underdog Fantasy where if you go out there and you deposit $10 with promo code FLOCK, you get $25 added to your account. You get our 2021 rankings. You get our 2021 draft guide. You get our 2021 Dynasty Rookie Draft Guide. I mean, it's like $100 value if you include the $25 added to your account. So please make sure you take advantage of that. And it helps the channel more than y'all would ever believe. It helps the channel more than y'all would ever believe. Scissors says, let me in there. Okay, I accidentally already sent that out before we could DM it to Scissors. You know what? Maybe we can. Okay, we're going to remove that. Scissors, let's get Scissors in here because I think the value of having Scissors in one of these drafts, I know some people are probably going to be upset with us for doing this, but knowing how excited people are going to be to draft with FaZe Scissors, while yes, it's exciting to draft with Fantasy Flock Network, I'd argue it's probably more exciting, to be honest. I know there are some people that would love to draft with Scissors, so it's going to be a priority to get him in this league. Let me go through and pull up his Twitter, and I'll send you a DM on Twitter right now, my man. Okay, let me send this over. And yeah, so if you get in this $10 draft with us, FaZe Scissors is also going to be in it. I know 99% of the people in the live chat right now know who FaZe Scissors is. So I'm sure that y'all are probably wanting to be in this a little bit more than usual. So I will send this out right now. Okay, let me grab that link. Okay, Scissors, I just sent that over to you. And we can close that. And then I'm going to send this in the live chat as soon as Scissors joins, guys. And then y'all can come in here and get this going with us. Okay, we're done with that last draft. Okay, Scissors is in here, so I'm sending out the $10 draft link right now. There you go, my dudes. And we have some donations to get to in 1 second. Thank you, my guys. We have Legit Savage says, higher than consensus on Mixon. Forgot that part. My man, I am higher than consensus on Joe Mixon. I thought you were saying we are higher than consensus, the consensus fantasy analyst. But thank you, my man, regardless. And Jack says, do I pick up Jalen Hurts and drop McCole Hardman if I have Kyler Murray? Honestly, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. Okay, we get the 104, and let's check out who else is in this draft right now. Okay, so in this draft, we have EB Nuggets. Maybe they've gotten in one more draft with us before. Scissors is at the 111. Fasho, I believe that's a new name. JK Ooper, this is a regular to the channel. Fully loaded. A fully loaded Antan Solo used to come out to a ton of drafts. They are part of our Dynasty community as well. Happy to have them out here. Then Amuse in the chat. This has been someone who's made it out before. Henry Shavy, I believe this is a new name. Mcopy, this is a new name. Prez YXZ, this is a new name. And Ladaddy Dollars. Were they in the $250 draft with us earlier tonight? I think they were in a $250 draft with us earlier tonight. Scissors Alley, you're talking trash too. Q the plug. Is Q the plug in this draft right now? Let me see what he says. He says, yeah, I want his money. Okay, so let's get this going, guys. It's going to be a fun draft. At the 104, we're going to be in a spot where we're probably taking Davante Adams. I know a lot of people are going to be screaming at us to just go through and take Derrick Henry. I'm personally not going to be doing it. So let's prepare this up. Okay, so M copy at the 103. We're going to take Davante Adams at the 104. Okay, so Nate says, full PPR, should I trade Brandon Ayuk to get Jalen Waddle and Laviska Shenault? AB goes from the flex to wide receiver 3, and Shenault becomes the flex. Honestly, if this can be a shallow PPR format, I would not be too inclined to go and make that trade. I would say if you are playing in a league that has 12 or more teams that you can start up to 4 wide receivers and you have 7 or more bench spots, then yes. But if you're playing in a shallower format than that, then just keep Brandon Ayuk. Bayboy says, what's up, Mason? For show 1985 is me. Okay, so we got for show 1985 out here as Bayboy in the chat. And also, this goes without saying, but Scissors, of course, you know, when we live stream tomorrow during the day, if you want to come on the live stream, we can set something up with Zoom. I know that maybe you don't necessarily want to do that when you haven't uploaded in so long, and I doubt the last thing that would be good for you is to not upload for that long and then pop up on a fantasy football show. So obviously, no pressure or anything. I'm putting it out there knowing there's a 0.0001% chance you'd say yes, but just in case you want to. You know the invitation, of course, is out there. Derek says, Flock, I'm using my buddy's phone tonight at the 103. Okay, so M copy. Derek's on a burner account, my man. Derek, your friend better have signed up with promo code Flock. That's what I'm going to say. Your friend better have signed up with promo code Flock. And Zach says, is Eckler not expected to start this week? We simply don't know with Austin Eckler yet. We're going to have to wait until tomorrow. We're going to have to wait and get some more information. Keep in mind, guys, it's going to be something we're dealing with consistently every single week during the year. But, I mean, right now, since it's the first player in the first week, everybody's freaking out, not necessarily knowing how to handle themselves. So Scissors goes running back here with Chubb and Harris. Scissors exposing himself as a Nick Chubb over Jonathan Taylor guy. My man. That I revoke the offer to be on the channel for tomorrow. That is. Derek says he did and got your draft guide. Okay, perfect, my man. Happy to see that. Okay. So now Waller at the 203. Henry says, yo, Mason, what's up? I was also in the live stream last night. Slim Shady. Happy to have you out. Guys, that's what I want. Y'all have known that we've been live streaming every single day, going through and doing real money fantasy football drafts. So, I mean, y'all have had way too many chances to get in a draft with us to have an excuse at this point. So, I mean, I'm glad that you were able to get in, but for everybody who's not been able to get in, we'll still be doing so many things during the season on Underdog Fantasy. So still, it's not too late. We're going to have 16 weeks of stuff that we're doing, but get in a stream, get on the stream and hang out with us. Now, Teresa comes out with a donation, says, Mason, I drafted last night and I unknowingly took Cook, Jefferson, and Thielen. Did I totally blow it? No, you did not. I will say that, I mean, at that point, you're going so in on one offense that we're not necessarily excited about it, but you definitely did not blow it. Okay, Scissors says, I'll be at my girl's place watching the game. Okay, my man, of course, have completely fun doing that. I will say we're not streaming drafts after the game tomorrow night. Just a quick side note, blow out this cover for you. We're going to be streaming at probably like noon. We're probably going to start streaming at like noon or 1. But now let's go through and Scissors says, LOL, I don't love Chubb or JT, TBH. Don't hate me. I believe didn't you take Jonathan Taylor in the first draft? Okay. I thought you took Taylor in the first draft. I was like, hey, that's a shark right there. But Clyde Edwards-Helaire going to the 301. Okay, so CEH has been someone rising up over the past 2 days. I guess it's because when we're closer to the season, looks like Clyde Edwards-Helaire going to be healthy. More people are excited about just drafting him at the 2-3 turn. I could see a massive Clyde Edwards-Helaire breakout. This is like the most common start that I've had in the middle of the first round, going to Davante Adams and Joe Mixon, though, so far this year. So, I mean, we lost Travis Etienne. We lost Cam Akers. Okay. Oh my gosh, we get Keenan Allen at the 304. I do not know the last time we got Keenan Allen at the 304. That is fantastic. That's fantastic. Okay. So after this, Henry goes Amari Cooper at the 305. William says, how is the team format set up for these? How many starters do we get? Okay, there's 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 receivers, a tight end, and a flex. And then from there, the rest of it's just bench spots. So keep in mind, your bench is going to be a lot more important with how you structure it because we don't have access to the waiver wire here. So you definitely have to understand that there's going to be some positional limits. My advice would be at quarterback, you want 2 to 3 players. At running back, you want 4 to 6. At receiver, I really want at least 8 in every single draft. And at tight end, you want 2 to 3. I'm sorry, at quarterback, if I said 1 to 2, I meant 2 to 3. It's 2 to 3 on both quarterback and tight end. It's 4 to 6 on running back. And then it's also going to be at least 8 guys at receiver. Scissors says, for my flex, LaVisca, AB, and Kareem Hunt week 1, I want to roll the dice on AB to make the season open and more exciting. Even if you don't want to roll the dice on Antonio Brown and make it more exciting, definitely go Antonio Brown. I mean, even if Chris Godwin is 100% healthy this week, which I think he's going to be, we actually have him as our wide receiver 6 this week. I think it's going to be a spot where the Bucs just roll the Dallas Cowboys. They're going to be putting up a ton of points. I'm surprised to see how much of a blowout the game's supposed to be according to Vegas. Like, I thought it would be like a shootout. They're not expecting it to be, but I got that hunch. Maybe I'm just a fish that doesn't necessarily know exactly how good the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense is. And I will say that I'm going to be a bandwagon this year. We are going to be going through and rooting for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We just moved to Tampa. I haven't rooted for an NFL team since back in the glory days with Matt Schaub and Andre Johnson on the Texans. And the main reason I was just rooting for the Texans there was because we had Matt Schaub and Andre Johnson on our fantasy teams for years. Like, I was like probably, I don't even know, 12, 13 years old. I have no idea how old I was at that point. Just drafting them season after season after season, thinking I was some genius. Okay, Caleb says 34-14 Bucks. That'd be awesome. Like I said, I'm rooting for the Bucks this year. Scissors goes Lockett, DJ Moore at the 3-4 turn. So it looks like very standard. I mean, Tyler Lockett I don't like there unless it's best ball. Like, best ball, I'm completely fine with it. Okay, Carson at the 403. Now let's pull this back up. James Robinson. We have a very balanced start. I mean, I love our start of Devontae Adams, Keenan Allen at receiver, and Joe Mixon at running back. So I'm not even sweating what's going to fall to us. Of course, we would like to see Kyle Pitts get drafted beforehand, knowing I'm someone never drafting Kyle Pitts. Like, if y'all are new to the stream, one cool thing that we can do on Underdog Fantasy is we can go through and look up the exposures of our players, so we can look up exactly how many leagues we've actually gone through and drafted a certain player in. So right now I'm actually on the clock in our Dynasty Fantasy Football Patreon League. So let me get that selection in and I'll go through and look up my exposures right after that. Let's take OJ Howard as a fun upside shot. And then after that, let me look up my exposures on Underdog Fantasy to tell you how few leagues I've drafted Kyle Pitts in so far. I know he's best player available according to ADP. If I'm looking up in the $250 drafts, I've drafted Kyle Pitts in 0 leagues. In all other drafts, I've drafted Kyle Pitts in 0.6% of them. So out of like we've cracked 200. We've done over 200 drafts now. Okay, that is meaningful. In over 200 drafts, we've drafted Kyle Pitts in about 1. Okay, so now we are back on the clock. T. Higgins goes. That definitely sucks. I was really hoping that we were going to get T. Higgins falling back to us. Now that we don't, we are just going to take DeAndre Swift. I'm not going to be too excited about taking the elite quarterback into Josh Allen. So let's go Adams, Mixon, Allen, Swift. Completely fine with this. Swift's going to have a nasty week. This week, though. Chris says, Mason, my man, I root for you and this Flock Nation. Thank you, my man. And you are a part of the flock. I'll say that. Anybody that watches the live stream, anybody subscribed to the channel and just comes out, interacts regularly in the chat, we are all the flock. Like, I am not the flock. I honestly, it's like my pet peeve when someone calls me flock. But no, because we are all a part of it. And guys, also, we are 4 subscribers away from 35,000. We are 4 subscribers away, so we're probably going to hit it by the time we get to the 6th round. So thank you so much for everybody who has recently subscribed to the channel, dropping likes on those videos, getting us recommended to some new people. I mean, it's been a very fun past month, and we are just now getting started. Y'all know the grind has really started where we're doing 2 videos a day now. We're going through and doing a live stream every single day as well. So, yeah, I mean, the grind is just now getting started. The season's going to be a lot of fun. Hitting 35,000 subscribers is massive. Okay, now let's pull this back up. At what point would we have to take the elite quarterback? Miles Sanders at the 502. Adam Thielen. Okay, so with Adam Thielen going, Thielen was the one wide receiver that I was looking at saying, okay, this is going to be the player that we're drafting at this pick. Now that he is off the board, I mean, Judy, Claypool, they're the same as the guys we're going to get later on. Josh Allen has an ADP of 40, so we're getting him an entire round after that. So let's just take Josh Allen here. It's not that exciting. We can find some stacks a little later on with Gabriel Davis. We can find one with, just say, Emmanuel Sanders. We could also go in the route of, I hate to say it, I know a lot of people are going to give me crap for it, Cole Beasley. We've drafted Cole Beasley in a lot of leagues, but I think just that overall offense is going to have so many passing attempts. Okay, so Josh Jacobs, and someone says we hit 35. Someone said we hit 35,000 subscribers. I'll go through and I'll pull this up. And guys, we did not hit 30. I know we did hit 35,000 subscribers. That is massive. I'll take a screenshot of this and send it over to y'all. That is massive. Thank you, everybody going down there, subscribing to the channel. And oh my gosh, I can't even imagine where we're going to be in a week. 35,000. That is That is awesome. Thank you, everybody. Now, after we take Allen, you got Josh Jacobs at the 505. If we would have taken Brandon Ayuk, Deontay Johnson, Adam Thielen instead of DeAndre Swift, then we would have gone with Josh Jacobs in the 5th. I just think that it's going to be a spot where Josh Allen makes the most sense. Very rarely are you seeing Allen fall this far. Okay, scissors goes Javonte Williams. So one reason I don't necessarily like that pick, like if we were playing in Best Ball Mania, if you were playing a puppy draft, if you were playing in the big dog, and you have the tournament at the end of the year, then I do like going with the Javonte because you are going to be just having those points matter most when we get to that tournament at the end of the season. However, in this format in particular, I'm unsure what Javonte is going to be doing for the first like 4 or 5 weeks. So if you have a dead roster spot essentially for the first 4 or 5 weeks, I think it's going to be a little more detrimental. So I think we do prefer in this private draft, and if we're not going to be drafting in the public league, I probably want a TJ Hawkinson over Javonte Williams. And also, it's kind of an eyesore right now, I'm not going to lie, seeing all these people have the same blue backdrop. Come on, guys, come on. I am happy to see that. I don't think I've ever seen another person have like the orange with this dog combination. It's like surprising because you would think like there aren't that many combinations, but I've seen very few people with our exact. I don't think I've ever noticed someone with our exact dog combination. Okay, Chase at the 605. That's good value on Jamar Chase. That's good value on Jamar Chase. And oh my gosh, we should have gone Brandon Ayuk in the 4th round. We should have passed on DeAndre Swift because look at what we have coming up to us. Look at what we're going to have. This is going to be tough. Lank Dog says, will Mason remember all of us when he hits 4.5 million? That's pretty funny, my man. That's pretty funny. So Myles Gaskin at the 606. Are we going to go back-to-back drafts where we take Mike Davis here? Let me see how many drafts I've drafted Mike Davis in. Let me pull this up. I feel like we have Mike Davis in 3.8% of leagues. You know, the only player that we currently have in over 20% of our leagues in the non-$250 drafts, so these are the drafts that we just have a crap ton of teams. The only player I have in over 20% of them is Davante Adams. And it's not good to have a player that's in that range in that many leagues, but kind of is what it is. Oh my gosh. I think we go with, so if we were playing in the tournament here, I'm just going to go with the receiver. But when we're playing in just this league where it matters to get points at the beginning of the season, and all we have to do is beat these 11 other owners, and we don't have to worry about the large field at the end. Instead, we're just going to take Damien Harris. I think Damien Harris gets a lot of points at the beginning of the season. I am worried about the fantasy football playoffs, so I'm going to be pretty low on Damien Harris when we're expecting Ramondre Stevenson to continue to expand his role throughout the year. So if we're playing in a regular league, I'd probably go with either Kareem Hunt or Trey Sermon over Damien Harris. But in this league in particular, we do have to make that adjustment, knowing that Harris is going to have a pretty safe role in a good situation at the beginning part of the season. Okay, so Devonta Smith at the 701. Let's pull this back up. Tyler Boyd, okay, that does suck, and us not having the chance to take Tyler Boyd here. Deebo Samuel going as well. We can't take the quarterback when we have Josh Allen. I'm very reluctant to take the running back, so let's just go with our guy Juju. Let's bring in Juju Smith-Schuster at pick 76. And oh, how the mighty have fallen. Oh, remember, guys, when Juju Smith-Schuster was going in like the 4th round of fantasy drafts last year, I was screaming that Juju Smith-Schuster was the best value in fantasy drafts, that it wasn't even close, that everybody was an idiot, that they had no idea what they were talking about. And oh my gosh, now you're able to get Juju consistently a lot later than that. Okay, so let's go through and see. We have Marquez Callaway at the 706. Mike Williams at the 707. Like Raheem Mostert's a perfect example of someone that's, I'm tired of talking about this, but it is definitely important that he's more important in this league than he would be in a league that has the fantasy football playoffs. Let's see what Scissors is going to do after He has 3 running backs, 3 receivers. I just really think this Javonte selection doesn't make too much sense. I think that we would rather go Hawkinson. He goes Michael Pittman at the 7-11. Obviously, Pittman getting a bump up whenever we do have the injury to T.Y. Hilton. And also Carson Wentz is looking like he's going to be healthy. So let's... EB Nuggets after this. Swizz World says, do you ever draft Callaway? Very few. Very few leagues have I drafted Marquez Callaway. I was actually surprised to see whenever I pulled up my exposure on Callaway, because we had him in a lot of leagues. Like, we have him in over 10% of leagues. But you have to remember, back whenever we had just training camp hype and we had not had the preseason, I was drafting in these every single night before the preseason even happened. So whenever we were having all the positive blurbs coming out of New Orleans saying, oh, Marquez Callaway looks like the wide receiver 1. He looks like he's the guy over Tre'Quan Smith. And then Tre'Quan Smith got injured. We were drafting him a lot back then. So we do have a decent amount of exposure to Marquez Callaway, but not necessarily since the breakout in the preseason. I think in the 8th round, Callaway is a little too rich for us. Love this pick of Kenny Golladay at the 802. Talking about someone that I changed my mind on with Kenny Golladay when he used to be going up here with guys like Adam Thielen. I mean, I thought that was a horrendous pick, but now that Kenny Golladay is getting a much deserved discount, I'm completely fine with him for those random spike weeks. Logan Thomas at the 805. Let's pull this back. And also, guys, I know that some people in Arizona have not been able to do Underdog Fantasy. I need to make this announcement way more often. But remember, when you make that deposit on Underdog Fantasy, you get $25 added to your account with the $10 deposit. With promo code FLOCK, you get my rankings, you get my draft guide. I mean, you get all of that, like $100 value. You can find the link in the description of the channel. And I promise you, I would not be able to say this if it was like a quote-unquote scam or you weren't going to get that stuff, because we have over 500 people in the live chat right now, and 99% of them have already done it. So, of course, they could just call me on my BS. But now, for everybody who's not been able to take advantage of that in Arizona, Arizona has made it where Underdog Fantasy is there. So make sure you go, if you're in Arizona, and sign up for Underdog Fantasy. I know you've been waiting for a very long time, but now's when you can take advantage. And Jalen Waddle, also someone I haven't been drafting that often, mainly because I'm a big Will Fuller stan. I'm actually really overweight on Will Fuller this year. We're going to go Darnell Mooney. I'm not a massive fan of Darnell Mooney either. And if this was the league where we had the fantasy football playoffs, then instead of taking a Darnell Mooney here, I would be going with Jalen Waddle. But if I pull this up right now with how many leagues we've actually drafted Waddle in compared to Will Fuller, I've drafted Waddle in 5.4% of leagues compared to Will Fuller in 16.8% of leagues. See, I mean, we are really overexposed on those guys. Tom Brady at the 812. I think at this point, we'll probably take him. Let's see. Yeah, we can't take Michael Thomas here. I've like literally scratched Michael Thomas out in this format. Even though if you're playing in a league that has the fantasy football playoffs, Michael Thomas is a great pick here. And we couldn't have taken any of these quarterbacks when we had Josh Allen. So M copy goes Jalen Waddle. Okay, so with this upcoming selection, we have Mixon, Swift, Harris at running back. We don't have a single tight end. I'm not a fan of Robert Tonyan. Actually, probably would prefer Noah Fant over Robert Tonyan straight up. But considering we're playing in 250 leagues, we have to consider ADP when we make these constructions. And he's 8 picks ahead of him, so there are going to be a lot of other drafts that we can take Noah Fant in, that we can't take Robert Tonyan. So let's get Robert Tonyan here. And it does suck that we don't get the stack with Green Bay. Like if we would have taken Aaron Rodgers in the 8th, if we would have the chance to take Aaron Rodgers in the 8th, it would have been very nice to get the double stack with Devontae Adams, Robert Tonyan, and Aaron Rodgers. But yeah, let's bring in our first tight end. I probably would have gone with Jalen Waddle if he ended up falling to us, but I can't take a Jacoby Myers there. It would have been too damn hard to take Jacoby Myers. William with the donation. Thank you so much, my man. Says, with Curtis Samuel hurt now, do you think Terry McLaurin is going to be a target hog, or now do you think the best defensive backs will lock him up? I thought Curtis Samuel was sounding like he was going to be good to go week 1. Is Curtis Samuel not going to be good to go week 1? Ooh, this could be a problem. I thought the most recent report sounded like, yeah, Curtis Samuel's still dealing with the groin, but he was looking fine. Oh my gosh, I did not even see that. Yeah, so he tweaked the groin again during warm-up this morning, like 9 hours ago. Oh my gosh. Y'all know how much we have been fading Terry McLaurin just for Curtis Samuel to get hurt. You're going to see me on the live stream right now go through and have to walk this back. Y'all know something I've been yelling at people for being quote unquote idiots with. I've been yelling at them for saying that they had no idea what they were talking about, that it was so bad. Terry McLaurin, now you have to draft over Allen Robinson. If Curtis Samuel's hurt again, and this groin is like, he re-aggravated the groin injury. He was supposed to be good. He re-aggravates it at practice today. So obviously, if he re-aggravated it at practice, yeah, I mean, he's going to be missing a couple weeks, and then you're going to have Terry McLaurin back in the same situation he was at last year with just a better quarterback. This sucks. This is not good, guys. Yeah. We have to bump up. You're right. We have to bump up Terry McLaurin. There's nothing I can do about it. And that's just going to be embarrassing. Y'all know we've been fading Terry McLaurin. I've been screaming. Like, he was going over Keenan Allen. He was going over Allen Robinson. He was going over Michael Thomas before the injury. And I was screaming how much I hated it. And now it's fine. Like, now it's, I think that's where he should be going. Oh my gosh. Let me see how many leagues I have Curtis Samuel in. It's going to be tough. Okay, let me first check the $250 leagues, because I have him in 2 of the $250 leagues, so not too bad. Could be worse. Then in the other leagues, okay, scissors, double taps, quarterback here. I do like those selections. Let me see how many Curtis Samuel shares I have in the other ones. I have him in 8.7% of the other leagues, so I'm slightly above average on Curtis Samuel. Not too bad, though. It's not like a Travis Etienne or a Cam Akers situation for us. Chris says, what a start to the 2021 season. I know. I mean, going back to what I was saying previously, with the injuries that we have had so far this preseason, I would be happy if I break even this year. And I say that wholeheartedly. I would be happy if we break even. Jazzy says, weekly battle royale draft, 20K to first and quick. Yeah, we'll be getting some of those going. I'm not doing any of those right now until we're done with all of these drafts. So the question is, yeah, we're going to take James Conner. We're going to go James Conner here. We're going to leave Michael Thomas to go to one of these teams between our picks. So we'll get some battle royale drafts going with y'all. But the problem is, I just want to take advantage of these drafts while they're still available, and they're going to be done tomorrow. Tomorrow, these are no longer going to be available, so we have to make sure that we're getting them out. So James Conner at the 10:09. And Overcome says Jackson and Roundtree, a stash for Eckler owners. I would prefer Justin Jackson between the two. I'd prefer Justin Jackson because he would have the receiving down role in that team. Ryan says, can you game ball on this site or app in Texas? Yes, you can use Underdog Fantasy in Texas. Literally the only places you can't use Underdog Fantasy are, you used to not be able to use it in Nevada, but as of yesterday, you can use it in, not Nevada, Arizona. You used to not be able to use it in Arizona, but as of yesterday, you now can. And you can't use it in Nevada. You can't use it in Washington State. You can't use it in Louisiana. And I think Iowa. I think those are the 4 states that you cannot use it in. But 90% of states you can use Underdog Fantasy in, guys. Half Moon says, do you usually profit off fantasy leagues? I've been a high volume fantasy football player with both a dynasty and regular fantasy football since 2014. And every single year we have seen a nice ROI, and we have profited since we started playing with a significant amount of volume in 2014. But I think this year with the Cam Akers injury, with the Travis Etienne injury, I've already kind of thrown in the towels. Also with the Irv Smith Jr. injury, another player that we really liked and we had a significant amount of drafts. It's going to be a lot harder to overcome. Now we are going to be taking Michael Thomas. I mean, like I said, we scratched him off our draft board when he's going at pick 97. But if we're getting him 26 picks behind his ADP, I think we do have to take Michael Thomas here, even though it's not an exciting selection, even though it sucks for the format. but it's to the point where the value is just too much. And Cam says you can't use Underdog Fantasy in Hawaii. Okay, so Underdog Fantasy you can't use in Hawaii either. The Queek says Curtis Samuel or Darnell Mooney. You can't go with Curtis Samuel at this point, can you? You have to go Darnell Mooney. That's a no-brainer question at this point. Okay, so Tony Pollard at the 1106. What's annoying with, like, if anybody comes out and tries to tell you that they saw this happening with Curtis Samuel, that Curtis Samuel, of course, was going to get injured, blah, blah, blah. Let me show you all this real quick. Curtis Samuel, over the past 3 seasons, has missed 4 games. Curtis Samuel's not a player that deals with a significant amount of injuries. So if anybody comes out and they're trying to run victory laps on Curtis Samuel getting injured, all you have to do is hit him with the you luck box into this one. You luck box into this one. Okay, let me show off the entire draft board for anybody just now coming into the draft. So let's go through. We'll see out the entire draft. We've already talked about our team a considerable amount. We can go through and talk about Scissors team because I know a lot of people are interested in Scissors. If y'all don't know, this is a FaZe Scissors that's in our draft, and we can look at it. And like we already said, we discussed, I'm not a massive fan of Javonte Williams here over T.J. Hawkinson. I do prefer Hawkinson. Outside of that, throughout the rest of the draft, love the Odell pick, love the Pittman, love the Golladay. I think a double receiver here makes a lot of sense at the same time. Jonnu Smith at the 11-11 also is a great pick. So really, I think he's had a great draft. The only problem I have, actually, there's another problem we have. Nick Chubb over Jonathan Taylor, Najee Harris over Saquon Barkley. I'm fine going running back here, but those players I'm not fans of compared to what you could have potentially had with JT and Saquon Barkley. But outside of that, the middle rounds I really do like. Okay, so now let's pull this back up. Brendan says Underdog is literally the best app for fantasy. Yes, sir. Like I said, guys, I reached out to Underdog Fantasy and I begged them to be our partners for this upcoming season. And for whatever reason, we got them to agree to offer that best fantasy football package that you could find by y'all joining Underdog Fantasy with promo code FLOCK, getting $25, getting our draft guide, getting our 2021 rankings and tiers. And we're going to be doing so many fun things throughout the entire season on Underdog Fantasy at the same time. So it's not even close to being too late that you missed out on it, because there are going to be 17 weeks where we're going through and doing stuff on Underdog Fantasy. We're doing stuff on Underdog Fantasy next offseason at the same time. So yeah, you missed the past 5 weeks, but we still got over a year that we're going to be doing stuff on Underdog Fantasy. So make sure y'all go make that deposit on Underdog Fantasy. You can find the link in the description of the video. Use promo code FLOCK, and you can just go through and get $25 added to your account, our 2021 rankings, our draft guide, and everything. And oh my gosh, Underdog Fantasy is spamming out right now with notifications on my computer. It told me I was on the clock like 10 times when we're not on the clock. Okay, so I think... No, we're not doing it. We're just going to take a running back here. I think when we take a running back here, we get our 5th guy. We are going to be done at the running back position. So Henry Shavy up. Rager goes. Yeah, so we're going to take Devin Singletary. We're taking Singletary over Leonard Fournette. And oh my gosh, literally, I think we jinxed ourselves talking about how Underdog Fantasy is by far and away the best place to play fantasy, which I wholeheartedly agreed with. That's why I reached out to them. But they are right now spamming my computer with notifications. Let me try to fix this. This has never happened. I'm getting a notification like every 30 seconds that we're live with some random thing. Let's try to fix this on my phone real quick. Let's pull this up. Yeah, I have no idea why Underdog's doing this. Okay, so Tua Tagovailoa, Leonard Fournette. We kind of want to see running backs going off. Yeah, it's perfect to see Fournette. It's perfect to see J.D. McKissic going off when we already have 5 running backs in this build. We need to find receiver value. Mike says, is this a big dog? This is not going to be a big dog draft, my man. This is going to be just a $10 draft that we did in the live chat. We did a $250 draft earlier today. Scissors says they did it to me like 7 times. Said I was on the clock. Okay, so is anybody else in this live chat, in this live draft right now, getting like spammed out with notifications? I'm like getting spammed with notifications on Underdog right now. This is the first time I've done over 200 drafts on underdog. That's really weird. Maybe it's something with this draft right here. Eden says, Ayo, get some sleep, my man. No, we're going to be live streaming all day tomorrow as well. And here we have to take Curtis Samuel. I know that he has the injury as well, but at what point do we have to just end up taking him? I feel like we could be making a mistake, but what are we? Yeah, like who else are we taking? We're going to go Curtis Samuel here. And oh my gosh, I'm about to leave this draft the way they're spamming my computer with notifications. Foster says, DM'd you, Mason. Okay, not sure what you DM'd me, but guys, real quick, remember when you use promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy and you get that $25 added to your account, that's going to happen automatically. But to get our draft guide, to get our rankings, to get our Dynasty Rookie Draft Guide, you just have to shoot me a message literally anywhere. You can send that on Instagram, Patreon, Discord, Twitter. I mean, you can send it even to the email that we have in the description of the video. And all you have to say is, Mason, you bum, get me your 2021 draft guide. I use promo code FLOCK and Underdog Fantasy. And all you have to do is make sure you send me the email that you used promo code FLOCK with when you signed up for Underdog Fantasy so I can go through and confirm. Eric says, what time are you starting tomorrow? Literally just whenever I can. Whenever I can. Derek says, it's getting worse. Okay, so Aaron says he's getting random notice. Derek says, I'm in the draft with you and it hasn't stopped. First time ever. Yeah, so what is going on right now, my dudes? What is going on right now? Party Till Sod says Underdog is getting some major traffic. I guess maybe it's because there are thousands and thousands of Underdog drafts going on right now. I can guarantee that. Because like if y'all are on Underdog, like if you go hop in a $5 draft, I bet you that $5 draft fills in 30, like not even 30 seconds, probably in 3 seconds. You're just going to see it going with people filling up those drafts. Okay, Scissors going with running backs here again. Let's check out this Scissors team right here because we liked it. But okay, so at receiver as Lockett, Moore, Odell, Michael Pittman, Kenny Golladay. So at running back, Nick Chubb, Najee Harris, Javonte Williams. Was that his 5th and 6th? Okay, no, that was his 4th and 5th. Okay, so I guess we are fine going running back there if you're done going with the running back position. You're done at quarterback as well, most likely. You're done at tight end as well, most likely. So if he finishes out just wide receiver straight, I mean, that's a pretty good draft. Scissors says he hates his team in this draft. Yeah, man, I think we went through. We showed what I don't like in it, and of course I'm wrong all the time, but I just think the Javonte Williams selection, that was like the bad one. Because the thing is, if you decide to pass on Javonte there, and instead you get Hawkinson, I bet you get similar production from Hawkinson than you get like Jonnu and Everett. And you can instead just grab the running backs here. Like you can instead get Nyheim Hines and Ramondre Stevenson. Actually, that's bad. Never mind. Ignore me. I'm being stupid. Ignore me. Jimmy says, yep, the $5 drafts are popping off. Okay, so I'm assuming just Underdog is way too many drafts going on. Okay, so let's pull this up. Yeah, quarterback's value, but at the same time, we have Josh Allen, so we don't necessarily need to take advantage of it. So Ingram is dealing with that injury, so of course that's going to be an avoid situation. Bateman, we can't take. Let's just take Randall Cobb. So it's going to be the full-on Packers stack without Aaron Rodgers. Not that great. Cam says 2,000 spots left in Best Ball Mania. Damn, so Best Ball Mania is going to fill. That is awesome for Underdog Fantasy. So they take Best Ball Mania down to the last second, down to the wire, and it is going to end up filling. How many spots are left in the Big Dog? The Big Dog has 200 spots left, so that may end up filling tomorrow too. I think the Puppy Draft may be the only thing that doesn't fill. Puppy 3 may be the only thing that doesn't fill. I'm so excited for Underdog Fantasy that there are only 2,000 spots left in Best Ball Mania. That's very exciting. We got Cole Kmet at the 1502. Diamond Brown at the 1503. Okay, from here, I'd imagine we probably want to be grabbing another quarterback. Just because what else, like... This was not our best showing. This was not a good draft. Different bye week than Josh Allen. Now let's go through and let's show off this team. I am not a fan of this team. Let's go through and let's try to figure out what we could have done to make this team better. Like, where did we mess up here? Adams in the first, I like. Mixon in the second, I like. We like Keenan. We're fine with Swift. I mean, maybe. You know what? I think the play here, instead of going DeAndre Swift, Juju, Brandon Ayuk, Chase Edmonds, probably sounds a lot more appealing. So Swift, that was maybe the one pick that we're looking at the end of the fourth. With not that much excitement. From here, or what we could have instead done is go like, I think the combination Brandon Ayuk and AJ Dillon's a lot better than DeAndre Swift, Darnell Mooney. So yeah, this Swift pick put us in a difficult spot where we couldn't take advantage of the running back value that was down here. So that Swift pick probably, I don't want to say ruined this draft, but definitely made this something I'm not that excited about. Yeah, that is brutal. Let's pull this up. We have Josh Palmer at the 1508. And Fantasy Dog says, FYI, puppy threes are taking less than 10 seconds to fill. So maybe the puppy three actually ends up filling as well. And if anybody who doesn't draft an underdog is probably so confused right now, but guys, Underdog Fantasy just has so much going on. Y'all just have to get a part of it. Y'all have to get a part of it. And it looks like the notifications, I haven't gotten a notification in a while. So it looks like that is under control. That was just like a weird couple minute thing. Okay, so Zach Wilson at the 1509. And a quick shout out to all of y'all for dropping the likes in the live stream, subscribing to the channel. We passed 35,000 subscribers on this channel, which is, of course, crazy to think about. We hit 34,000 2 days ago. It's Nico Collins at the 1511. David Johnson at the 1512. And while I'm thinking that, let me pull up the live stream on my phone real quick so we can make sure we drop a like in the live stream on my phone. Yeah, so let's get that going. Quez Watkins, do y'all think David Johnson's going to end up getting traded? Like, if David Johnson ends up getting traded, Philip Lindsay is going to be a massive value in these drafts. Henry says, Mason, how does my team look at the 105? Let's go through and let's check out Henry's team. Actually, let's do it after we make our two selections here. After we make our two selections there, then we can check it out. Then we can most likely check out Scissor's team, and then we'll probably be done with this draft. So Ferkshire going at the 1606. Yeah, we're in a tough spot at tight end. We're in a tough spot at tight end, that is for sure. So Henry goes Wayne Gallman. Yeah, we made a massive mistake going Baker Mayfield. We should have taken a tight end with our last selection. It's like Evan Ingram here. Of course, you never like drafting an injured player, but it is what it is. Okay, now let's go through and let's check out Henry's team at the 105. Has Zeke, Jacobs, Edmonds as the significant running backs. Metcalf, Amari, Higgins, Sutton as the significant receivers. He snipes us on Rodgers from getting to our Devontae Adams stack. Then Marvin Jones, Michael Carter as the running back 4. I'll say Michael Carter in this format in particular where we don't have the playoffs, it's hard to take over these guys. Mike Gesicki, great value. I was hoping that we were going to get Mike Gesicki. Jalen Reagor. Trying to think. Like, do you prefer Carter and Reagor, or do you prefer just getting like Ruggs here and then Devin Singletary? I prefer Ruggs and Singletary compared to Carter and Reagor. I'm just trying to just spitball things that we could do to possibly improve the next draft. Then Austin Hooper at tight end, Samuel Watkins at receiver, Wayne Gallman at running back. Overall, I think that's a strong team. I'll pull this back up, and we're just wide receiver tight end for our next 2 picks. We're going to have to draft 3 tight ends on this build. Do we just get Tyler Kroft? Let's get Tyler Kroft because we know there's going to be a wide receiver that we're fine with making it back to us with our next selection. So let's take Tyler Kroft there. Not that excited about it. I know a lot of people probably did want to see a Byron Pringle. Who the Fook is that guy? Says, I just joined the flock on Patreon. My man, thank you so much for joining the flock. I do appreciate it. And yeah, we're going to get some stuff going on Patreon where I had to make the executive decision that it was unrealistic for me to be able to continue to go through. And on Patreon, if you're a member of Patreon, throughout the entire offseason, I answer your questions directly through Patreon every single day. If it's a dynasty trade question, if it's just any kind of draft question, I'll go through and answer it. But this week, since we've gotten this extra traffic from everything that's going on with the 2021 redraft season, literally, if I would answer everybody's start sit questions, if I would answer everybody's questions in general through DMs, there would be nothing else I would do the entire day. I couldn't make a video. I couldn't make a live stream. So what I'm probably going to do is on Patreon, and we'll also do this for all the members of this channel as well. Like at the end of the start sit question, and just say the streams that we're going through and asking questions. So we'll probably do like the first hour and a half where I'll go through, and we'll be doing maybe something in the background on Underdog Fantasy, but I'll be answering questions in the live chat. I'll be answering questions through donations. And then at the end of the stream, I'll always dedicate like 10 minutes where I'll probably leave a post on Patreon saying, if you're in the stream right now and want a question answered, what do you want answered? And then you can go through, and on that Patreon post, I'll be looking at it as we go through and answer those questions. So I can still answer all your questions on Patreon. Just the thing is, I'm going to have to do them all at once, and I can't do them through DMs because it's going to be a lot easier for me to do it on a live stream just from managing a time perspective, because trust me, I want to answer all your questions. It's just simply there are only 24 hours in a day. Y'all know we've live streamed every single day, made videos every single day for 5 weeks. Now we're going to do that as well throughout the entire season. So trust me, if there was more time in the day, I would feel the need to go through and answer all those questions. I just simply can't. So we'll probably spend like the last 20 minutes every live stream when we're doing this Ask Me Question live streams, just answering them from Patreon and then members of the channel on YouTube. Okay, so Eric Ebron at the 1801. Dwayne Eskridge at the 1802. Okay, so yeah, Scissors, after he takes his 2 running backs here, he goes 4 wide receivers in a row. I mean, that's exactly kind of what you have to do here. I was really hoping Hunter Renfrow was going to make it back to us in the 18th. But I think, let me go through and queue up. Yeah, Sam Darnold making it all the way down here. Oh, that is brutal for us. What is the news on Van Jefferson? Healthy for the regular season? I don't care. We'll take Josh Reynolds if we can. Quintus Cephas is more appealing now. Olamide Zaccheaus. Okay, so I think that is done for the draft. Thank you, everybody, for coming out, and we will be live streaming again tomorrow as soon as I can. I'm going to make a video in the morning. I'll go through, and I'll most likely... Actually, do we need a receiver yet? No, we need a receiver. I'll be making a video. Then we'll probably be live streaming at about, let's say, 1 p.m., 2 p.m. until kickoff for that game, or maybe a little bit before then. We'll see when we need to end it. But I'll be getting in a lot of drafts tomorrow as well. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you use promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy. And when you use promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy, you know you get $25 added to your account. You get our 2021 draft guide. You get our 2021 rankings. You get our 2021 tiers. Drop a like on the live stream, and I think that should be it, guys. I really hope that I see y'all in the premiere tomorrow morning. Keep in mind, I mean, if you come out to that premiere, I'm answering all the comment section at the end of the video premiering. So make sure that you come out early. That way you get all your questions answered, because my number one goal this year is to help as many of y'all as I can in fantasy football. And that includes answering as many questions as I can. Of course, there are only so many seconds in the day, so we're going to have to do that very methodically. So come out to the premiere, get your question answered. And yeah, that's all I got for you, my dudes, and have a great day.